Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 185. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V in a freshly winterized Wisconsin.
It's going to be winter for a little while. We got
Is there a groundhog that says that?
2 or 2.5 inches of snow. It was really wet, heavy snow. I shoveled it this morning. Didn't die of a heart attack or anything dumb like that, and we're good to go.
Well, just yesterday there was actually a winter advisory, and this is only significant because I just came home from the gorgeous weather, well, mostly gorgeous weather that we had at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft as we kicked off the 2018 Disc Golf Pro Tour. And I'll say Tuesday, Wednesday, not awesome out there in Arizona, but then it heated up a few more degrees every single day. And then I come home and there's no snow on the ground until late last night. So here we are. Welcome, everyone. Looking forward to the show, of course, tonight. This is 185. We're going to have Dana Vici joining us in just a few moments. We'll be dialing him up from Illinois. Then we're going to catch up with Simon Lizotte. Spoiler alert, he throws far, and he won the tournament this weekend.
And he putts well.
He putts well for the most part, all the time. Yeah,
not true.
That.
I watched him airball one putt.
He did airball a putt. So Simon Lizotte will be joining us. And then we also have a couple of inserts, a little bit different style. We're going to have updates. A few weeks ago, we had Eagles Wings on here. We had Hannah and Dustin Leatherman giving us a little update as to what's going on with Eagles Wings. Well, they have a junior grant winner that they've announced. And I didn't watch the video, so I can't even spoil it. It just came in. We appreciate them sending a video over, so we'll be able to play you that. That's about 3 minutes. What we'll probably do is we'll cut to that after Dana, but before Simon. I know there's some parents that are eagerly awaiting the news to find out who won the junior grant program. And then also a little later in the show, we're also going to have an update from Dave Feldberg, who's got more stuff going on with the NextGen tour, and we had him send us a little video over. About a minute long, and I think he's got an update, maybe talking about a competition of some kind. I don't know where I got concert from.
Wow.
I hope this isn't a rewind to Thursdays.
Yeah, you had a rough round as a commentator. I mean, we've seen players have rough rounds. They might be missing their lines and whatnot. You had a rough go of your mouth.
I missed a few lines
You missed
myself
quite
out
a few lines, T-Mobile.
I did. All right, so I think what we can do is we'll relieve a little pressure from anything I have to say, and we'll get to our red-bearded friend back from Mexico, Dana Vici.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Dynamite, how we doing, buddy?
Yo, T-Bag, Johnny V.
I wish someone would go through the footage and listen to and just write down every single name he threw at you. Because the board was lighting up with names that he should throw at you, some of which were appropriate, some of which might not have been, but we give a little bit more leeway to a 3-time world champ than we do to you, Terry.
Well, I was going to say once I was just thinking yesterday, knowing that one of his nicknames for me was T-Mobile, and I thought with that to play, if we want to play on telecommunications, it was I'm T-Mobile, but when we're together, we're ND&T. Like AT&T, ND&T.
No, that's not good. That is not good.
I don't know.
I mean,
that's hilarious.
That borderline's on bad.
Either way, of course, Nate Doss joining us on the commentary. And Dana, I got to say, you've stepped into that role a few times. Give us your review on Nate's performance out there, outside of the 23 holes of golf he played.
Yeah, first, can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, you sound great.
I just realized I'm connected to the wrong Wi-Fi here. So, but yeah, Nate, he crushed it. He's one of the most well-spoken players on tour, and if we haven't seen him up on the podium lately, but if you do, he gives the best speeches. It came to no surprise that he crushed the commentary. I'd say that's with no disrespect to any of your other co-commentators, Nate's got to be up there with number one. Of course, we would have rather see him playing, and we hope that shoulder heals up quickly. But it was great, with you and Nate being as close as you are. That really helped as well, and you guys played off each other really well. I enjoyed it, and I'd rather see Nate play. But if he's not going to play, put a microphone in that guy's hand.
Yeah, and for some that don't know, this wasn't necessarily a new concept or a new idea. Nate has talked to us for years now.
I mean, he really won't leave us alone about it.
No, I know. He's always begging to get involved. Like, how can I possibly?
Nate.
So as we see them transitioning, and not that they're going anywhere, but they're playing golf, but also, of course, getting closer and closer with opening Bevel and securing some things there. We'll leave those details for him to describe. But as they get closer towards that whole brewery idea, finding other roles, other ways to, as he says, give back and still be involved with the game is really interesting to see. And a little spoiler or / exciting announcement: earlier today, I did I put together the FPO first card, or the feature card from round number 1, and my guest commentator, Valerie Jenkins. And to my bigger surprise, Val said that is the first time she has commentated a round.
Really?
So,
how did she do?
Wow.
She did really well, of course. Knowing that.
I wanted you to throw her under the bus.
No,
set everyone's expectations low so that when it comes up, kaboom.
I think she did great. And she even said afterwards, she's like, well, it's a little tough sometimes because you're watching all these shots, and it's really like just, shot after shot after shot. And you're trying to kind of keep up with the play. And knowing how much to say or how much time you have is a little tough. And we know that's part of the commentary gig or post-production. But overall, I think she did great. And I certainly thank her for it. And I hope we'll be hearing her more. And in the big picture, I don't want to be commentating at all on the women's side when it comes to post-production. I'd love to hand that off to 2 or 3 women to do. But just with the logistics right now, that's how this entire first wave of FPO footage is going to unfold in post-production. But anyway, all right. Dana, you watched from afar. What did you see at the memorial?
Well, I've got to bring it up. I just have to bring it up. You already brought it up, but I just want to say it again. You really were butchering some names over there during that first Vista round. I was kind of embarrassed for you. Is that how you felt about me when I watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour finals? I mean, is that what you felt for, because that's what I felt for you. I'm assuming, it was something similar to that. You're on the lead card every weekend. Everyone
Wait,
sees
I haven't been
all
live.
your
I have
mistakes.
not covered live disc golf in the amateurs at the NextGen event, November. So 4 months, but go on. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I thought
But I mean,
the very
hey,
first day at
lead
Fountain,
card.
you did okay. It was the second day at Vista, the first half, before Nate came on, and then as he first came on, that you went in the tank, man. You pushed all in.
I did. It was horrible, Dana. I'll finish your statement.
Hey.
My effort was, I don't know where my mind was or how it was melting. I think you asked earlier, doing the, editing the women's footage earlier in the day and doing all of that, and then I'm literally hitting upload at 2:09, and at 2:20 we're live out on the tee, a few hundred feet away. Those aren't excuses. I don't know what it was. My brain clearly was not working, and I take full ownership of it.
Well, we're not here to dissect Terry's
No.
commentary. We're here to dissect
I know,
play.
He's lead card every weekend, so I mean he's
Valid.
he's got to deal with it too. But I enjoyed it. I didn't take all the live in. I was working and family and all that jazz. But it was a lot of fun to watch disc golf and see the season back, the Disc Golf Pro Tour season back. UDisc was a lot of fun to follow too. All the cards on there, and I thought you did do a good job with the women's coverage. that quick turnaround time, commentating, cutting it all. And that's funny, hitting upload 11 minutes before going live. But speaking of the women, should come as no surprise if you've been paying attention at all. Paige Pierce just she came out and dominated. It was close early on, and kind of some of the girls kind of made runs at her, but in the end, 11th row victory for Paige. She's perfect on the year. Finishing in second place. A second place tie was Lisa Fakis and Jay Weezy, Jessica Weiss. Kat and Jennifer Allen finished in fourth. We saw Kona follow up her good Vegas performance and play pretty solid. Finished top 10. So it's nice to see the new names up there. Madison Walker also coming off a good Vegas, coming off the injury, has to be really happy with her play. With these being long courses, not quite her style, but averaged well above her rating. Holcomb finished or played a little bit below her rating, but strong golf again. You think Memorial, wide open long courses, and that's not necessarily Sarah's bread and butter, although she can definitely win out there. But great shooting to Paige. She's really good at Frisbee.
I don't know. I think she's slipping a little. No, I mean, what did she win by last year? 12, 13? Only 11 this year?
And you know what I keep hearing, and it is just ridiculously scary?
Is her putting was less than impressive?
And her driving wasn't that great. She threw OB. She was like, out of 26 players, I think she was like tied for 21st with OB strokes. The difference is she gets a crap ton of birdies compared to the rest of the field to make up for that, to allow her, if she kept clean on her drives, there'd be zero stopping her, period. There is not one player, not even Katrina Allen right now, that could keep up with her. Paige's biggest enemy is herself and her, I don't want to say her confidence, but her aggressiveness on the course, because she knows she can go for these things, because if she does mess up, I'll get 2 birdies later, or I'll make up for it here and I'll chuck in a 60-foot putt or something. Like, it is, to me, it looks like Paul Macbeth 5 years ago, where he's aggressive and it pays off. That's what Paige is doing right now, and I love to see it, frankly.
Yeah, I kept checking when I'd look at the U-Disc and check out her stats and see all those long putts she's making. Jesus, she's jamming a few long putts per round, but she's birdieing holes that a lot of the other women can't, and she's birdieing holes that a lot of the men are not birdieing. Impressive stuff, and I'm excited to continue watching and seeing what she can do out there this year. There were other divisions. I
was just saying, I just want to drive that final point home with Paige thank you to UDisc Live, of course.com. If you go out there, you can see all of this stuff throughout the weekends. Real quickly, Johnny, to further your point, she birdied 42% of the holes for starters, hitting 78% of the fairways. She had what I would say is an area to clean up is her 78% circle one putting, where you look at like a Lisa Fakis, who's 93%, for instance, and leading the field there, or a Sandy Hendel, who had 96%, I think is what it says. But what blows me away is her circle two putting, as you were just saying, Dana, 33% circle two putting. The woman with the next closest is at 14 or 17 or 18%. She's so much more on that circle two putting. If she just cleaned up circle one putting, she would have won by 20 something.
Well, here's my question. Do the circle one putts include the bullseyes where they like the women throw to, let's say it's a 350-foot hole, and then it does.
See, and that's the World Tour didn't count the. I don't think we should count the drop-ins.
I don't think we should either, because
they had it. Yeah,
because I'll say that's the one thing about UDisc.
It skews it.
It does, because when you see Paige with on her final round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 putts inside of 5 feet. That means she's throwing it means her approach game is ridiculously good. That she's putting it under the basket, or she's hitting the basket and then dropping in. So it's a little bit skewed as far as I think those statistics for like Lisa Fakis, who 96 of those 96%. How many are 5-footers? How many are she just putting under the basket to really skew that? I would rather see like, hey, look, 10 feet and out in theory should be slightly more challenging. 10 feet and in should be a drop in for most of our pro men and women. That's the only qualification I'll give. There's no doubt Lisa Fakis is a phenomenal putter. There's no doubt Paige Pierce is a phenomenal putter and driver. It's and we're nitpicking.
Yeah, I think
we're
that goes
nitpicking.
across the. Yeah, and I was going to say that whole putting thing goes across the board, men and women. But yes, we're talking about, we're nitpicking Paige's game when she is winning by double digits. She's not doing anything.
She should have won by more. I'm calling you out, Paige.
Yeah.
Get it together.
This is three announcers trying to find a way to pick on Paige a little bit for her phenomenal play.
No.
Not pick on, but I'm just trying to find that thing like, Paige, you could do better if. But I mean, as long as she keeps dominating the field, she knows she has room in her game to improve, and she'll do that.
All right, Dana. Sorry. So you said there's other people at the tournament other than FPO and MPO who make up the Disc Golf Pro Tour side. What else did you see?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass over on the men's side. We'll go to the Pro Masters 40 plus. It was really a 2-horse race, the whole event, between Shasta Chris and Rob Ryan. And then the final round happened, and Shasta kind of had a quiet round. Rob Ryan shredded. Eric McCabe, playing Masters, he had his best round of the weekend, shooting a 1063 rated round and catching Shasta and actually tying him. So he beat Shasta by 9 throws that round to jump into a tie for second place. But Rob Ryan really, for not having a grasp on the rules, he knows how to throw a disc. 1037, 1038, 1024, 1054. So really solid shooting. On the Pro Master 50 plus side, Kevin Couch held off Joey Mela by a couple. Dan Ginley finished in third with Jason Tyra. And just a quick shout out to the advanced winner, Alex Stoops from Colorado, 17 under par. Second place, guy named Jeff from Austin, Texas. He was 3 under par. This Alex Stoops went 10-17, 10-22, 10-19. So he definitely smoked it. And then on the advanced women's side, Rianne Hamilton from Spring Valley, California, got a 5-throw victory. She played some pretty good golf too, hovering right around 900.
Okay.
And I guess the men's side, do you guys want to hold off to
No,
chat
go
We can talk about it, because who knows what Simon's going to talk about, honestly, the way that the interviews with him can sometimes go off the rails in a fun way. So let's discuss the leaderboard.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 was Simon, Eagle, Sexton, and those 3 guys really more or less distanced themselves from the rest of the field. We saw Ricky Wysocki really struggle with the putter during round 3. I wish I knew what his I can't recall off the top of my head what his Circle 1 putting percentage was, but it had to be one of his worst in years.
There was one round he was at 67%. There was one round he was 67% inside the circle. That's unheard of.
That's round 3 that you're talking about, Dana.
Yeah, he still shot a 9. It was 999 rated round, but under 1,000 for Ricky is pretty. You have to. Those don't come too often, but I don't know. I feel like last year we saw Ricky switch to the burst daggers, the colorful daggers, and it almost. I swear his putting kind of went down, and then we saw him go back to the white original Feldbergs and put. He dominated the rest of the season. Memorial, he's putting with these new colorful signature burst putters. Maybe I don't know. They watching some of the video just didn't seem to have that glide. Maybe it's the archer, not the arrow here. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Ricky back on some of his old daggers moving forward. Something to look for in a couple of weeks at Waco.
Well, Disc Golf Nerd, who follows along very closely, says Rick needs to use the white ones, please. So you might be onto something.
Yeah.
Maybe whether it's, who knows if it's mental or if there's actually something physically different with the disc. It could be entirely a comfort thing or something mentally.
Well, I think it's just a different run of putter made of a different blend of plastic, and it's gonna be a little bit different whether it's flight or feel. And if I would not be surprised to see Ricky back on the white putters sooner than later. Maybe after all these burst Wysocki daggers sell out, he'll jump back on the white train there. But also kind of struggling during that round. Round 3 was Paul Macbeth. He started the event 10:43, 10:81, found himself to the lead card, and then shot himself a 50, which was a 1,009 rated round over at Fountain. Probably one of his worst rounds ever at Fountain. Probably his 48-50 at Fountain this year. Nowhere near what he shot in previous years, and then didn't really follow it up final round with all that well. He shot a 54 at Vista. So definitely had to be a disappointing memorial for Paul. I mean, we usually see him winning or tied for the lead at the end. So, but off season, getting married, he probably didn't quite get in the training and the practice that he's used to or wanted to. I think it's just a matter of time before he snaps back into form.
Do we want to put a bet? Not a bet, but a guess on the first event he's going to win?
Yeah, I'm down.
What?
Our next event?
We got what? Waco, Idlewild, then GBO. Are those
those are all the next Pro Tour stops.
I'm assuming those are the next. And then
GBO's not, but no, I'm sure. I'm guessing he's got more than that in the queue. Even no.
Yeah, he's got Waco. Throw down the mountain.
Throw down the mountain.
Jonesboro, Glassbone. Yep.
I'm not going to say.
Nick Hyde.
So Waco this weekend, and then the next weekend is Throw Down the Mountain.
Bet you Throw Down the Mountain seems like an obvious one because I think the field is going to be a little bit smaller. He'll probably be the more dominant. I know it's got a few players there, but he will be probably the most dominant player there.
Ooh, I don't know. I think Chris is
Dickerson going to be there?
No, Dickerson is not there. Side note, I don't know if we'll get to it. Chris Dickerson did win again this last weekend. He's still
7
perfect
for 7
on the year. Yep. But so Throw Down the Mountain. He's Matty O, Cameron, Cole Glazer, Austin Turner, Good Pasture, Calvin Heimberg, Zach Melton are the main notables. Shoestrick will be there.
I'm going to take
well,
Paul there.
I'll be there to film it.
There you go.
And if I bet against it, you better believe I will be sitting there heckling him. I'll make sure of it. No, I think it's. I mean, really. Let's be real. Obviously, he could win any given weekend, as you said. The question is which weekend. So we're looking at potentially, week and a half at Waco or the week after in Florida. Are those? I mean, those aren't the only two on the table, but do we all agree that he'll win one of the two?
I'm going with Jonesboro. So
you're waiting till Jonesboro. Okay.
Yep, I think it's going to be a few weeks before he snaps back into form.
I don't think he'll win Waco, but I do think he'll win Throw Down the Mountain.
Okay. I'll be at both. I'll heckle one way or another.
That's good.
No,
That's
maybe
good.
I won't. It should be fun. Okay. And I'll follow that point, and then we can put Paul Macbeth's story to bed, or not, or lack of story, whatever you want to call it. Again, this weekend, understandably, his wife Hannah reached out on Instagram. I think it was Sunday. She basically said, "Okay, guys, the jokes. We're a living, breathing couple trying to find our way in the world. We're doing what we're doing. You don't have to ask me what's wrong with Paul." She was expressing some frustration, which I totally understand, because every person out there somehow meanders into the idea of this has something to do with her or their relationship. his non-dominance on the course.
Yes.
And I don't blame her for saying something because she's probably getting really annoyed by it.
I would believe it, and I think we've said before, it's not her fault directly, not because he's now married. Has he maybe not been practicing nearly as much because his winter was a little bit more occupied with things like getting married and planning all that other stuff? Possibly. There's a chance. But to blame it on a particular person, whether it's Hannah or whomever, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna see Paul snap, like Dana said, we're gonna see Paul snap back. It's just a matter of when's he gonna find that putt, because that seems to be what's kind of hurting him lately.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant to say hold off until Jonesboro for him winning, because he probably will win before that. But yeah, he's going to be all right. And yeah, so before I get going, I know Simon's going to be on pretty quickly here. 29th Earlwood Classic in Columbia, South Carolina. Great course. Barry Schultz got himself a 10-throw victory. He came out and shot some really, aside from his first round, he went 1054, 1042, 1058, and just dominated the field, winning by 10 throws over Josh Day, 2017 AM World Champion AJ Carey. Played some really good golf, finished in third place. Elaine King, no real big surprise there. Won in the 6 women open division, playing some really good golf there. And as I alluded to earlier, yes, Chris Dickerson won again. And yes, it was a Spike Heiser event. Shout out to Spike Heiser. This was Tim and Donna's wedding anniversary extravaganza driven by Innova. But over in Kingsport, Tennessee, 107 total players. Chris Dickerson won only by 3 over Tim Owenston and Nick Osborne. The women's side, it was only two players, but Christy Moore did win on the women's side.
All right.
I know we kind of jokingly throw around that idea of the longest name for a tournament, and that one usually at least is put in the conversation, is it not, Dana? What was repeat that tournament name again?
Spike Heiser's Tim and Donna's wedding anniversary extravaganza driven by Innova.
Okay. And I believe it is, in fact, Tim and Donna's 3-year anniversary. If not today, it's within a day or two of now. I believe that it is. And so, of course, happy anniversary to them.
I mean, that's really close to Spike Heiser's Stumpy Fling and Ching, driven by Innova Disc Golf, with special thanks to States Vegas, which we had last week.
Yes.
So
it should just be a running challenge to himself to come up with the longest names.
I want to see him in the PDGA sheet. You can see, it wraps around the word.
I want to see to a third line.
I want to get the third line. Come on, Spike Heiser. You're letting me down here. Let's see a longer one. If Smashbox has to throw a couple bucks to be a presenting sponsor, we might.
Well, and speaking of throwing a couple bucks, the Dude, Jeremy Stewart, and Matthew Q, all super chatters, all in the last 10 minutes. So we appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. A little later in the show, we'll talk about what we saw, the super chat, and how Steve Dodge and the Pro Tour, all of that money on the Pro Tour channel, and the giveaways and all of those things. We'll talk about those, the success of those, the challenge, and how that all went down. Again, as kind of the overall memorial recap. We'll get on that later. But anyway,
Dana, I want to ask one more thing of you. You heard about the foot fault heard around the world, correct?
Yep.
Real quick before we get Simon on, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a foot fault. I think Ricky was quoted as saying he can't call himself, which I believe under the new rules you can second that. It's with the rules changing, we'd hope that everybody has studied them and knows them in and out, especially our touring pros, our best players, so they can be setting an example for everybody out there. But he wasn't quite up to date with that. Maybe he didn't think he foot fouled it or whatever it might be, but yeah, he clearly did. And, as players, we're supposed to, we have to try our best to watch, but I can see why the other players on his card didn't catch it. It was unfortunate. And, Nico, we've seen him get called for things in the past. And so when he actually witnessed a pretty egregious foot fault, he called it. And, I'm sure he was conjuring up memories of foot faults of tournaments past. So, I think it's, little blown out of proportion. They missed the call, and, it just serves as a reminder that we need to pay attention, and we also need to stay up with the rules. And especially for me too, I take pride in knowing the rules, and I'm not fully confident in all the rule changes. But I haven't played my first event yet, nor TD'd my first PDGA event, so I've got a little time.
Yeah, I'm with you. To be honest, I watched it happen. We were sitting here, and I said, that's a foot fault. And I forgot that the player could second it this year. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that because it switched, and obviously we're early in the year. I do kind of like I saw someone throw something out there that Nico was a little bit over the top with it, I'll say, just a hair. He had the right to be. He called a foot fault. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a courtesy violation on the other two players when it's that egregious. If it was within a couple inches, I can kind of understand it. It was a pretty egregious foot fault. And not that I think Ricky tried. Ricky's not trying to circumvent the rules or purposefully taking an extra step back to get around a tree, as I heard some people say. He just misplaced his foot, period. That's what it came down to. Yeah. And I can understand you watch your disc, and suddenly someone calls you on a foot fault. You look down and you think, did I step backwards? Like, you're not necessarily thinking about your steps after you throw. If you knew for sure, I would hope he would have called himself on it. If he looked down and he recalled saying, oh yeah, look, I totally missed my line. I missed my spot here. He probably didn't realize what he had done. The other guys should have seen it. It's a good starting thing in an event. I mean, it's good to have this come out like the one of the first two big events. We'll say we're prepared now. Everyone kind of has a general idea, and I think we're not going to see nearly as much as that coming forward.
I'd like to go ahead, Dana.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Ricky chimed in. There's, of course, plenty of conversation out there, and I'm going to really quickly read what I thought was probably the most head-on addressing of this by Ricky. He said, I want to clarify and chime in. After seeing the video, I see now that I clearly foot faulted. Nico called it, but at the time, I knew it was close, but wasn't sure if I had faulted or not. The rule calls for one of the other players to confirm just for that reason. Nobody else could confirm, and given that I wasn't sure myself, I just played on. After the other players didn't second the call, in my mind, it was over. I don't appreciate those making assumptions that I intentionally faulted. It's not true. So that's just one spot where it was in one of the more heated debates, I feel like. I applaud the way he handled and wrote that, and that just came out yesterday. So for what that's worth, one of my big takeaways was as Johnny McRae was walking away, he turned to the group and said, if I saw it, I would call it, and I am not afraid to call a rule on anybody. And then I think he kind of repeated that, and then he kind of winked at me and emphasized again, I'll call a rule on anybody, I don't care. It was a humorous moment to me.
You could hear it in the broadcast, him say that. It was kind of funny.
It was, and he had a smile on his face, so it was great.
What's funny about that is if you watch the World's coverage, Ricky was putting on a log at W.R. Jackson, and clearly, literally, he slipped and fell, and it was a falling putt from like 15 feet, and the whole card just kind of laughed. And Ricky looked at him and was like, "Are you guys gonna call this?" And everyone like shook their head, and kind of you could see him like laughing, walking off. And Johnny McRae was on that card and didn't call it. So I mean, it maybe not entirely true that if he sees a rule, he's going to call it or whatever it might be, because that you can go watch the the Jomez footage and literally watch him laugh. And then, or no, it was Central Coast footage. And then you can hear Corey talking about that. It was clearly a foot fault, and the whole card watched and literally laughed at the World Championships. That different story, but kind of funny that he would say, "Yeah, I'll call it if I see it. I don't care who you are." But clearly not the case.
Well, in this case, he and KJ both very much said they did not see this happening, which I can understand.
I believe.
Totally understand that. There is a little bit of irony to finish this out, in my opinion. There's a little bit of irony in that Nico is, I think it's fair to say, I'm not a Nico hater, but it's fair to say he habitually challenges and exceeds the 30-second throwing rule. Like even maybe the first hole of that round, I think, Dana, you had picked up the comment that I made as Nico, I think, very clearly exceeded the 30 seconds. I wasn't sure at the time. I watched it later. Nico clearly exceeds the 30 seconds to take his first putt of the entire round. Hole 1 exceeds that, and I think my comment was something like Nico helping setting the pace for the group here, and that was my polite mention or reference to the fact that felt like way more than 30 seconds, and he's kind of notorious for it, and that's never called. Never.
Never. The problem with the 30-second violation is that Nico's usually close, we'll say, 30 to 40 seconds. No one's timing him. It feels like a long time, but you're sitting there and you're like, it's got to have been 30 seconds, right? Oh, God, it was only 25. 25 seconds can feel like 35 seconds. It's really hard to make that, unless you're sitting there with a clock on him, which
some people do.
Which some people do and could, and I wouldn't fault anyone for it if they're like, oh, I'm playing with Nico. Or like, we'll just say Philo a couple years ago, whomever it is. That takes a while. Jeff Bennett is guilty of it. Just sitting there and be like, all right, dude, mini. And then just wait. It's just the way things are.
And I think, someone, all it is you call them on a warning and then go from there if it's that big of an issue, for the group, and, but it wasn't. And he seemed to, like you said, really flirt with it and maybe not quite hit that 30-second mark, because 30 seconds is a really long time. And I did see a few times where Nico did take a long time, but there was a car honking, and
I get that. I know there's
that, but most of the time he's a very deliberate putter on the putting green and does take a while. So, I would bet that he'll get called on 30 seconds at some point this year. So.
All righty, Dana. Well, I think we
SmashBoxx. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Will Nico get called on a 30 second?
I don't know. Does this situation, like Ricky's, for instance, does this situation help bring some of these challenges to the forefront? I mean, just think if all of this would have happened, and either A, it's on the fourth card, or B, there's no coverage at the time. Would this have been as much of an issue? I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have been hearing about it. Thousands of people wouldn't have seen it. I think as the media continues to grow, these situations are brought into the public eye more often, and I think with that comes a little added pressure to address them.
I hope so. I hope our players take this stuff seriously, and they can start, hitting foot faults, hitting time violations, lost disc times, all that stuff. I would love to see called, because it makes for our broadcast, and personally, it makes for our broadcast to be
Seems like everything's running. We're just offline. Hello, everyone. Hold on. We will be back with you in just a moment here. Hey-oh.
All right.
We lost Dynamite, but I think we're going to be good
Looks
to go.
like we're back.
Look at, I just switched the shot. You'd be so proud of me.
I am proud of you, Terry.
All the time. All right, we're going to confirm if everyone is in fact. It says that we're back.
All right,
and
cool.
Hopefully we are. That was just a complete...
That's weird.
Everything just completely went bonkers on us.
Everything kind of stopped on us, but...
All right, well, see you, Dana. Don't want to hear from you anyway. All right, I think we've got Simon Said he was yawning. I think he was yawning at his teammate Dana.
More than likely.
And I think we're going to be ready, and we can bring Simon on here in just a few seconds. I'm getting a few messages saying that we're back. So we'll get Simon all dialed up and ready to go. I think he was just sending a message. Yeah, apologize. All of a sudden, just everything froze, and I think it dipped out for just a few moments. Once Simon looks to be pretty much ready to go in our digital green room.
Can you, Simon?
Simon, can you hear us? No, you're not on.
You are now.
There you go.
Can you hear us,
But
Simon?
The world
I
sees you.
can't hear Terry or.
Your sound should be on.
What if you plug your headphones into the computer? Then everything might work a little better. And turn off YouTube.
Maybe I should try headphones.
There you go. We're going to get Simon
I'll
on
take-
board with some headphones. I bet you that'll work in just a moment.
We're gonna let Simon. We're gonna let Simon get this back going again.
Get all situated. So, as we're just waiting, we can see Simon, but Simon can't see us just yet. Can you see us, Simon? We'll make sure.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna give Simon a call back. Let's just.
Ken Nelson, we appreciate your super chat. Says thanks for the disc golf coverage. We appreciate that, Ken.
Simon, is that any better? Ooh,
We can hear your voices, so maybe it's something on Johnny. It shouldn't be anything on your end.
We just
We
got
were
up.
just talking to Dana.
Yeah.
It's funny because we can see
hello,
Simon
hello,
at the
hello.
moment.
Oh, hold on. Oh, hello, hello. No, it might be. It might actually be us.
Do you want to play the? Can we play the
Hello?
Eagles Wings while we test offline, or no?
Yeah, we can probably do that.
Maybe
Right.
that's a good idea.
All right, we'll play the.
What a clever idea out there.
All right, let's play the Eagles Wings. We can talk to them, and they can talk about their winner. And
We'll get Simon dialed up in the meantime.
Hey everybody, it's Dustin and Hannah Leatherman with Eagles Wings Disc Golf, and we are here to announce our junior grant winners for 2018. We're really excited about this group. We had a ton of applications, and it was a great competition. Our judges had their hands full. They really worked through it, and a lot of the applicants received at least one vote from a judge. So if you did not win, we don't want you to be discouraged. We want you to keep working hard. Do some good things in your community, and I'm sure you'll be rewarded for it. There seems to be a lot of organizations that are just investing in junior disc golf now, kids disc golf and others like it that are really out there paving the way for juniors. So keep working hard, keep pursuing your goals, and we are already brainstorming and thinking through how we can offer more grants and more help and assistance in 2019. So check back with us again next year. Before we announce the winners, we just want to thank our sponsors. We had a great group of sponsors. Without them, we couldn't offer the grant. It would not be what it was. So we're just going to list them out really quickly. So Nate Doss came on in a huge way, helping us out a ton, and also bringing Discraft and Keen footwear to the table, which was a huge help. We had Dynamic Discs. We had Innova Disc Golf. We had Paragon Disc Golf. We had Upper Park Designs. We had Kids Disc Golf, Disc Baron, Mr. Disc Golf, Whale Pants, Ricky Wasaki and Saki Bomb, Avery Jenkins, and U-Disc. So all of them came on and just did a tremendous job providing value for the grant, and I think the winners are going to be very excited about what they receive, in addition to the paid entry and travel costs that they will have covered for them. So without further ado, Hannah will announce our winners.
Okay, we have Jordan Smith from Louisiana, Lucy Burks from Oregon, Jason Casper from New Jersey, Wyatt Mahoney from Connecticut, Nicholas Marr from Maryland, and Evelyn Heath from Australia.
Yeah, so as you can see, we had applications from all over the world, which was really cool. Again, we are hoping to make this bigger and better next year, and we encourage you to check out our website, eagleswingsdiscgolf.org. We're going to have player profiles that will list out their goals, the projects they're going to be doing this year, and we're going to keep tabs on them, send you pictures and results, and keep that updated. So check back, and thank you for allowing us to share these results tonight. We also want to thank SmashBoxx for allowing us to come on. They also offer to help with the grant by offering some things for the kids. So they're just a great partner, great help and everything, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of the show.
All right. Well, awesome news. Thank you so much, Eagles Wings, giving everyone the update as to who the winners were. As they said, a lot of participation, a ton of applicants, and don't be discouraged. If you didn't win, that doesn't mean you're not doing good things. So great to see. Thank you guys for sharing the news and the information with us, and we're glad to help out in any way that we can to spread the word and the info. So we're working on a few specifics here, trying to get it's kind of funny how technology works. That we just had
Dan on Skype. So
Dan
here's what we're
on
gonna do.
Skype.
We're gonna put the show on pause for just 1 second. We'll be right back. I promise you.
Ooh.
Let me just make sure everything is set here.
What should I be doing right now?
Just sitting tight.
Oh. Guess who's back?
We are back again.
Back again.
Now let's just double check and see if our audio is coming through as it should be. That
The internet can be tough some days.
it can be. So then there's one last thing we can do. Let's do that and that. I hate this because this means a lot of times I have to edit this out of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's a
That too. Audio is good, Chris Cobb says.
audio
We
is good
appreciate
for
that.
you.
Yeah, somehow it's really truly a matter of Skype is
There we
acting
go.
goofy, and all of
It
a sudden
was-
it seems to work.
It was completely Skype. It was just we used some sort of weird communication between Skype and vMix, and that's what it ended up being. So now Simon should be able to definitely hear us. It was on our side, Simon. It had nothing to do with you. So
Never Simon's fault.
nope. Not when you're a winner like Simon. It's never your fault.
Simon, you all good? You seeing everything and hearing everything?
Yes, I was so prepared. That's why I was slightly confused for a second.
You were completely prepared. It was all on us. We just had a weird issue with the internets and the whatever. So, but now we're back up and we're online, so we're ready to go.
We appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. Thank you to all our Smashies out there. Everybody wants to hear from you. How's it going, buddy?
Where are you?
Not everyone has left yet.
No, we're here.
Okay, good. I couldn't be much better right now. I'm pretty happy.
You are. All right. So you had a pretty big weekend. We have to talk about your performance and you holding on in that final round. Things got really tight. You and your good pal Eagle. We saw Nate Sexton charging. We saw at one point Paul Macbeth started to charge a little. A few different people started to charge a little bit, but you held on. When were you feeling the pressure?
Yeah, round 4 was pretty much pressure from the beginning to the end. I have won a couple tournaments, but I'm not really at that point yet where I would say I'm really used to winning. So I was feeling, of course, nervous before the round, which is almost before every round, but this one was, of course, special. And usually it goes away. Like nervousness hangs on for like 1 or 2 holes, and then like you find the groove. Especially, I started with like 3 2s in a row. I was like, all right, everything's going perfect. Why am I still nervous? And it just got worse and worse. And then, Nate Sexton wouldn't make any mistakes. Eagle was just there the whole time. I started making little small mistakes here and there. So I was like, damn, I really thought I was going to win, and now this is happening. So. But everything turned out in my favor. Everything, the whole week was, I don't know what was going on. I just got like one good break after the next, and I'm glad I could take advantage of those.
Yeah, you had at Fountain on I believe it was one round. You had the tire hit,
On
which
hole 6,
which
yep.
kept you in bounds and definitely at least saved you one stroke. And
Yeah,
then
that was-
on I believe it's hole 10 or 11 where you hit the palm tree and you came straight down, almost acing the basket, giving yourself what, a 5-footer?
Yeah, hole number 11.
Hole number 11, yeah, out at Fountain. It just everything seemed to break Simon's way.
Yeah, and at the same time, the other guys were getting screwed out there. I don't know what's happening.
At any point, did you think after the weekend, well, maybe I should go back to Vegas and try and ride some of this luck out in Vegas?
That's a great point because I lost a lot of money in Vegas.
Okay. Well, I think maybe a return is what you needed there. So where are you now? Everybody wants to know. They see a cat in the background up over your shoulder. I believe that's a cat. Well, where are you now? If you're not in Arizona or Vegas?
I am in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, wherever that is.
Big tournament
very
going on there
close.
this weekend.
It's very close to Worcester, which is very close to the Maple Hill course, the Vibram Open. I'm like 20 minutes from there.
Okay.
And yeah, during Vibram Open last year, I met someone and I'm stuck.
You're stuck.
Yeah, how
Oh,
that's a
That
real
sounds like
romantic.
love.
That's a romantic way of putting it. I'm stuck.
Wow, I didn't mean it to sound like that.
No, I know.
We'll give you the.
Did you? I was gonna say, did you just miss the weather at home? Because I know Massachusetts is about to get hit with like a huge storm in like a couple days. They're supposed to get 10 to 12 inches. I think I heard.
Yeah. So you meant you were. Yeah. The traffic and the weather pattern has you stuck. Yeah. That. No. Okay. So you're.
That's terrible.
You met someone, and was this planned to go cross country immediately after the tournament, and are you going to be relaxing there until the next tournament, or kind of what's your plan?
That's a really good question. My plans change about every day. I try. People expect me to plan ahead like a couple months, and I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So it's gonna be, yeah, it's interesting. But right now, I'm pretty much happier than ever with my situation because I have, for the first time, like an actual home base, and I'm out of the motorhome. I'm out of the 10-week tour life. I have time to myself. I have time to like regroup after tournaments, and I hope and I think that that'll make me physically, mentally better and just allow me to perform better on tournaments.
This was one of the things that they taught you in Sweden the 5 weeks you were there, correct? It was one part of the mental training, you know.
Jeez, that was Switzerland, dude.
Or Switzerland, sorry, not Sweden, Switzerland, my bad.
Okay, well, let's go there next. Let's talk a little bit about that training. We saw you and Eagle. There were posts. I think some videos are starting to unfold or get released. Tell us what that training was and what it meant to you and to your overall your game.
Yeah. What was it?
What were you doing? What were some of the types of things? Explain it to everyone.
It was a new step in disc golf, kind of like direction, professional athlete, taking the off season seriously, working with actual like professional personal trainers. And Andy Gatch, he's been a disc golfer for 25 plus years, so he understands the game. I've known him for a lot of years, and he is specialized on me and Eagle personally now. So yeah, it was crazy. We did a lot of speed training, strength training, endurance training, coordination training, all the little aspects that you wouldn't think directly relate to disc golf. But if you actually think about it and look at the results now, it's pretty obvious that being healthy, being physically fit helps you in any aspect of your life. And if you want to be a professional athlete and be consistent throughout a whole week and then week by week, then yeah, we were just trying to work on those kind of things, and Discmania stepped up and made this program happen. So yeah, it's been pretty incredible, pretty unique.
Do you feel like, and I know this seems like maybe an easy question, but do you feel like that was the difference in the two of you going first and second over the last couple of weekends with you and Eagle?
The difference was that, it was the first two big tournaments of the year, so everyone's kind of rusty. And the big difference was that Eagle and I were ready. We were so prepared for these tournaments, and everyone else was, I don't really know what everyone was up to, but not as prepared. So they were down here, and we were like on top of our game. So yeah, they will catch up, and it'll get tougher. But we were just so physically and mentally prepared.
Do you think, now, as you said, you haven't been in that position very, I hate to say that because you have at the Memorial taken second, third.
Second.
Yeah, you've been right there. Does this drive you even more, the win? Does it give you, I hate to say it, does it give you a taste for it and want to push yourself harder? Because you've kind of been known to be a little aloof on the course at times, maybe more of a crowd pleaser as opposed to a competitor. So is this going to push you to be more of a competitor?
So many things are changing for me right now. One of my main studies actually over the off season was, what does alcohol do to your body, and especially on like the athlete side of it, what does it do to your performance on the course? And it is so crazy on just drinking and trying to like play your best the next day. I always thought it was a great theory that hangovers are a great way to perform on the course. But I've learned that it's the exact opposite. And during the Memorial, also during Vegas, I felt so much stronger, so much more awake because I haven't been drinking at all. I've had like maybe 10 beers this year. So it's been really, really different for me because I'm German. I love, everyone who knows me, I love beer. I love being out and doing crazy stuff I shouldn't be doing. But right now, I really want to start trying. Like, that's the main thing that people have always told me. Like, if you would just try, then you could be so good. You're like the most talented player we've ever seen. Blah, blah, blah. I've heard it so many times. And maybe, I can't guarantee I'm ready to try now.
Well, it just seems like in the past, it's almost been, for your play, it's almost been like a cliff. You're there. You take one or two bad shots, and I don't know if just mentally you feel like you're out of it, but then it becomes, hey, let me show you how much fun I can have on the course. And it didn't seem like it mattered to you. So I hope that this, in general, for disc golf in general, I hope that this really pushes you to try to compete at that high level. I'd love to see, not that I want to see you come from behind, but one of the things that makes Paul one of our best champions is he has that real killer instinct where if he's down by 4, the rest of the field is looking behind them. There's not a lot of other competitors other than maybe Ricky that people do that for. Do you see yourself in that group, or is that not the type of style play that you think you're going to end up with?
I don't think I'm going to end up with Ricky or Paul's style at all. No. I'm a very, very different person. So is Eagle. We're all really different. We have all different styles. And yeah, Paul and Ricky both don't drink.
Yeah.
Which is
true. That's what the people on the chat board are saying. Yeah, they're non-drinkers, so.
And Eagle also doesn't drink.
Eagle can't technically yet.
Yeah, so he's never had a drink.
In Europe, he can. But still chooses not to. So
I'm glad that probably really good money was spent in Switzerland to let you know that drinking's not performance enhancing. That sounds like definitely a really good program.
So of course, it sounds obvious. It sounds like duh, drinking is not a great way to prepare for a tournament. But if I look back at the tournaments I won, then maybe drinking did help.
Well, you had GBO and Ledgestone, correct? Those are your two big kind of marks that you've made in the past couple of years, right?
Yeah, I won Kono Pista and I won Nick Hyde and a couple of smaller ones here and there. But yeah, GBO and Ledgestone were definitely two big ones in America.
What is your plan? And I know you just said a few minutes ago you don't exactly plan out, but what do you see as your travel plan or schedule over the? Just give us the next like month or two.
I'm looking at for at least what you're registered, Waco, and then the Dutch Open, and then Jonesboro. Is that pretty?
Yeah, Dutch Open's not going to happen. I messaged TD today. It's just my plans first was to fly home this Friday and then stay in Europe for a while, but plans changed, obviously. I'm going to be flying to Waco, and then I'm going to be back in Massachusetts, and then I'm going to be flying to Memphis for Jonesboro, and then I'm going to be back in Massachusetts, and then I'm going to be flying to Kansas City for GBO, and then back in Massachusetts. And then after GBO, I'm not sure yet. I might go to Iceland, or I might go to Nick Hyde.
Or Massachusetts.
And it's already a West Coast swing with Masters Cup, San Francisco, Seattle, and Beaver State Fling.
Are you going to be having any company on these trips? Do you plan on your housemate joining you ever, or?
Yeah, she'll be in Waco.
Okay, I love the look. I love the the side eye you gave. Okay,
you guys won't be just stuck there.
Yeah, you're not stuck in Massachusetts.
No, we're very flexible.
Good. So you mentioned Massachusetts and that you'll be going back there a lot. It sounds like things are pretty serious. Have we seen you with such a serious relationship here in the U.S. before?
Or even overseas?
Yeah, we have 3 years ago, actually.
Okay. And how do you feel like that? I mean, we talked about it with Paul and getting married, and a lot of people feel like they need to second guess or criticize. I would assume you don't see any negative impact or anything of that nature by having a companion. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't really know, but she has nothing to do with disc golf, so I think that's a plus. And yeah, this is still all kind of fresh, so we don't really know where we're going yet.
Well, let's ask him relationship questions while she's clearly there in the room and put him on the spot. I mean, that's obviously.
Yeah, bring it. I like it.
Easiest way to do it. Now, to be fair, Simon messaged me and said, feel free to ask me something that everyone else hasn't asked me.
It cuts out that, that first 6 months of awkward, like your history, your dating history, things like that.
Just put it on the internet for
right
everybody.
on the internet, day one. All right.
We're live. I like it.
That's all right.
How did you guys meet?
Secret.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Secret
so
is
Tinder.
I was gonna say, is Secret like a new dating app? I don't know about it.
Tinder. All right. Next question.
Wow.
Not that we're judging. I think that's great.
I've said it.
I just don't buy the secret.
It's beautiful, actually.
Okay.
All
right.
Oh my God, I'm blushing. It's okay.
Okay, so you're not. I think the big takeaway here is that you're not in an RV, and you've very much had this RV lifestyle. Flying to an event. Paul Macbeth has talked about flying to events. We're seeing some of these people transition into different modes of transportation. And then I think of on the opposite end, Kale Leviska never flies to an event. Barry Schultz never flies to an event. How do those travel arrangements impact you? I mean, you're used to flying to more places, but is there any comfort level when you don't have an RV full of all your stuff or anything like that? Are you worried about any of those concerns?
I am worried about zero of those concerns.
Okay. What do you worry about at all then, Simon? Maybe that's a better question. What worries Simon Lizotte?
What worries Simon Lizotte? Oh my God, that could be real deep. What worries me?
I mean,
I don't know, that I have to eat breakfast tomorrow morning.
Okay.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. That's not a good thing.
I mean, if that's your biggest worry in life, then I think you're doing really well.
I think you've figured something out that other people haven't.
Huh. Yeah, don't worry, be happy. And
smile more. Smile more.
I'll take that, sidetrack that. Smile more, I forget his name, but I know he's a big YouTuber and does tons of really great videos. A few years ago, we saw, Brody Smith do a whole bunch of stuff. I know he's worked with Avery and yourself with some trick shots. Did you get approached by any other YouTube celebrities or channels or anything like that to do some fun or crazy stuff? I know you were featured in the People Are Awesome video.
Yeah, the guys from People Are Awesome contacted me. I've also been contacted by the Ridiculousness Show.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, but that kind of never turned out. I think MTV has contacted us many times. But yeah, what I was doing before Gentlemen's Club, not Gentlemen's Club, the Vegas Challenge now. I was a whole week in Vegas. What am I talking about?
Cali.
LA. Whole week in LA, filming a new project which may or may not involve trick shots. And we filmed the whole week in really cool locations. We were on the beach, we were in the desert, we were at La Mirada, and others too. And we had Jamie Thomas on board, Avery Jenkins, UC. So it's being edited right now. It'll drop probably more towards the summer, just to get people more excited. And I hope this video will change a lot of things.
So maybe a little bit more of a, not that you can plan viral videos, but maybe hoping for a video that has the potential to go viral.
It should be so good that I get sponsored by Hugo Boss.
We did see you wearing some.
That was a huge, I know it sounds silly, but that was actually a relatively, we'll say, big conversation piece on some of the web boards, on the chat board. Was you were wearing what, a Hugo Boss shirt that final day?
Yeah. In Germany, I just walked into a golf store and saw these Hugo Boss shirts. I was like, those look really nice. And I was like, just thinking about what if I wear them and then somehow make it possible for them to notice disc golf and for them to be involved. And I was like, why not just try it? And I've heard nothing but compliments about those shirts so far.
Yeah, the shirts look nice. And I think that's definitely a different, maybe not a different, but a unique way of looking at it. So many times we see our pros, they will wear sponsored gear because they're sponsored. But we don't hear a pro very often say, I'm going to wear this hoping I get sponsored by them. Especially someone like Hugo Boss, which has, in theory, not in theory, is so much bigger than disc golf itself.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was just dreaming, maybe.
Well, dreams can come true, Simon.
Keep on dreaming. I think those are all official phrases from you guys. Who would be your ultimate car sponsor? If I know you're going to be flying around quite a bit, but if a car company came to you while you were in the U.S. And said, you know what, we'd really love if you were driving around in this vehicle, what would the car be and or the name brand at least?
It doesn't have to be an American car?
No.
Well, my dream car has always been a Ferrari. Or, I don't know. I think I would trust Volkswagen the most.
Okay.
I just bought one last year, too, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense then. Yeah. Do you ever reach out, or is that something that a UC does, or a whole team of other people do?
The new, you guys' new sponsor, or not sponsor, but the management
DGI?
company, DG, well, that's
DG Group?
DG Group.
Whatever.
I'm not in it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that's
you're not
right.
in
You're
it.
You're the one they were
you were
talking
international.
about because you were international. They when we talked,
I did talk to them, but
Yep.
And they
declined.
told you, okay, so you declined.
Yes.
Was any specific reason why you declined? If you care to share it, I mean, was it
A couple of reasons, but I can't share them. Sorry.
Okay? Well, and that's where I was going to go. I said, is it a trust issue, or is it more of a I have other plans issue?
It's a I have other plans issue.
All right. We'll
No, of course, a lot of things go through UC. He's kind of my management. He's my friend, my second dad, my boss, my manager, all at the same time. And yeah, I know he says a lot of discussable things, but I still trust him 100%.
This is a fair question then, to follow that up, as you call them discussable things. When UC makes a post, and you probably know this answer better than anyone else, when he makes a post, how much of it might get lost in the translation in terms of the actual, what he's trying to say versus how it comes across in America where most of the people are reading? Do you feel like there's some of it that gets lost there just due to the differing, styles or types of communication?
I can't really say no or yes to that because I don't know.
Okay.
Do you feel like what he says?
You see, very, very smart man.
Mm-hmm.
So he does most things on purpose for a reason.
Okay.
But I don't agree with a lot of things he does, by the way.
Okay.
And sometimes when he makes some of these posts to like purposely like
Poke the bear.
poke something, then like I want to message him and go like, oh, please delete that post. That's going to be terrible.
Okay, well,
But,
that's good to know because we have seen him say things in the past, and that's a good question because I didn't know if it was anything that a lot of times it's written off as like, oh, that's probably lost in translation, or it's a different. It's a more of a European style of, Americans take things too seriously or things of that nature. So,
yeah, it's more of that Europeans, you can't, of course, generalize that, but
no,
Americans are famous for being offended, kind of. I think that's what I've learned. And Europeans like to be really direct and, for American standards, kind of harsh and honest. And I think stuff gets lost in there more than like a language barrier.
Okay.
I'm so mad that I can't find the exact wording, but to summarize, there was a post that was brought up on Saturday night after the tournament was complete. The Disc Golf Pro Tour core group of everyone that was around went out to dinner. Thank you to Steve Dodge. And we noticed a post that came from UC that said something along the lines of, hey, UDisc, great work out there. Solid app. It's the best app out there for live scoring at the moment. And
I've seen that, yes.
The question went around the table among ourselves as to, does that mean he has something in the works that he thinks is going to then, or that he knows about, that will then supersede what UDisc is doing? Because I think it's fair to say, if you're not on board with UDisc right now, and you don't think it's the greatest scoring app on the planet, you might be a little dumb or crazy or both. But
right now, for
what
the people know. Now,
correct.
If UC has other, I mean, because we saw the Disc Golf World Tour and the metrics and things of that nature. So my thought was like, oh, okay, well, he's complimenting UDisc, but he's got something on the back burner.
The moment was the takeaway. Did you read that the same way, Simon? And what do you know?
All I know is that UC has at least 1,000 things in the work.
Yeah.
It's every time, like, this is not exaggerated. I talk to him every time I walk out of that conversation with my brain hurting because of all the plans and ideas and theories this man has. It's like so beyond any other person I've ever talked to. And to me, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how he can have so many plans and things to do at once. He gets hundreds of emails every day. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous how nonstop this guy is trying to make the sport as good as it possibly can be at the moment.
Do you ever take ideas to him that he just shoots down and says, Simon, no?
Oh, every day.
What is your brightest idea that he didn't like?
I don't know. Probably going for eagle. I have no idea. No, nothing comes to mind. I have no example for that right now. But a lot of the times, I have ideas and I think they're great, and then UC convinces me that his ideas are greater.
Okay.
Well, and when he's your boss,
good at that. He's a businessman.
Yeah, and when he's your boss, you kind of sometimes have to agree to that. So
I still think I should be his boss, but that's just me.
Okay.
You throw further, so I mean, really, that's probably what should decide it.
That's
Fair
a
enough.
good point.
Are you going to miss the not having the competition on the Disc Golf World Tour this year? Does that tour and those accolades or the title that goes along with that, does that impact you as a player?
0%.
Okay. And you've made it pretty well known that you're going to be focused on both National Tour and the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. Is that correct assessment?
Yeah, at first, well, my plans changed now again with me kind of living in the States for now. So there's going to be more Disc Golf Pro Tour possible, which didn't look like that at first. Hopefully National Tour, but there's the major in Europe, another tournament in Europe I want to play in Sweden. And then the big problem for me will be the European Championships in Croatia, they are in August. I think it's the weekend before Vibram. It's not even called Vibram anymore.
No,
it's
it's the MVP,
Open.
And every time
MVP Open.
MVP is now the title sponsor. Vibram, I don't know if you know this, Vibram no longer is going to make discs. That's something that's been talked about. They're done making discs. They announced that a couple of weeks ago. And even before that was announced, MVP had stepped in and said, we would like to support what was the Vibram Open, and now it's the MVP Open. And we kind of have this running joke. You got to put $1 in the jar every time you call it the Vibram Open because it's already been renamed to the MVP. So you owe us like $4.
It's going to be a lot of dollars.
Yes, it is. So you're saying there might be a conflict with trying to play overseas and then get back for the MVP Open?
Yeah, I mean, you've done a couple overseas flights, and they're rough. I mean, for me at least, it's hard to go back and forth more than twice or even 3 times a year. So I'm going to try to do that as efficiently as possible. But as I said, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, so I can't really say anything.
Well, I feel like there's been an outline laid out for you to some degree. We keep hearing about the Year of the Shield, and I want to know, what does that mean to you as a player, as a competitor, as obviously one of the superstars on the team and definitely a face of the organization? What does that mean to you?
Wow, that's one of these tough questions. God, UC will love to hear my answer.
You see,
I don't think he listens to us or cares what we say.
Wait about
anyway.
10 seconds. He might be listening to this one. You might get an email with exactly what you're supposed to say, but...
Oh, UC, if I'm on here, UC will definitely listen to it.
Okay.
For what it means to me is to finally take my job seriously and actually treat it like a job and not like a hobby and kind of fun off weekends when I'm on tournaments. So, yeah, just represent the company the best I can to, like all the guys around me are working. The guys in California are like every day just like busting to get all the orders done, everything to make Discmania discs, stamps, whatever it is, just as good as possible. And I'm kind of out there just like living the dream, and I feel bad. So the Year of the Shield means that Eagle and I are going to do everything we possibly can to start, dominating.
Is it fair to say that you haven't put in 100% up until this point? You haven't been making 100% effort in everything you've been trying to do. Is that fair?
I've been making a lot of effort to try every beer I got.
Well, I mean,
no, of course. I mean, of
we
course,
gotta
I'm
have
trying
goals.
my best when I'm out there. But when you look at potential-wise and like what I could be doing to what I was doing, it's quite sad.
do you think that you are? I mean, throw a percentage out right now. I mean, do you feel like, do you feel like you're at 100% right now, or do you think no, there's still more I could be doing?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
There's so much more I could be doing. Like everyone could.
Okay.
True. So shortly after your win this weekend, I saw your father post. Your father's obviously your number one fan and supporter, and he's such a nice guy, and he's always posting and very encouraging, not just to you, but to the media outlets and to so many people. And I certainly appreciate it. I know we all do. He made a lengthy post about some other successes within your family this past weekend. Elaborate a little bit on your other talented siblings and other things that he was talking about.
Yeah, they're not very talented, but I mean, I don't know if Americans even know the game floorball. Does that make any sense to you?
Describe it a little bit once, and maybe
we'll have a yeah.
It's like hockey, just like in a gym with like a plastic ball and like plastic sticks kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, my brother has been into that for a long time. He's like goalie, and it's like the second league in Germany. It's not really a huge deal, but he's been doing that pretty successfully and with a lot of passion and fun for the last, I don't know, probably up to 10 years now. So, and he won a really important game for their league that night. And my little brother is completely useless at everything, so I don't really have to talk about him. And I won the memorial, and my dad, I love that post because it was like obvious he was trying to find something nice to say about my little brother, but he struggled.
How old is your little brother?
He's 21 now, I think, or 22.
Okay.
Is it fair to say, did you get the most talent in the family?
I got everything.
Oh
no.
I just can't wait to send this to your family.
Yeah. They'll be really proud.
They would say the same thing.
Okay.
All right.
Well, fair enough.
Talk a little bit about maybe, hopefully talk a little bit about the fantasy doubles that's going on throughout the country. Are you involved? How much involvement do you have in that?
Or are you just laying back, letting others do more work?
Yeah, I mean, the RV is on the road again with Colton Montgomery. Super, like, so much potential, and every time he doesn't play well in tournaments, I'm like, I hope like one day he will like find the rhythm of tournament play, because in practice he like beats me every round. So he has so much potential, and he's on the road with Bart right now. They're running this tour to try to support their touring plans, and like however that always goes. But I am out. I am done with touring for now.
And the doubles, what's the format? Do you do you know any of the details about that or no?
I think
I'm not sure. I did a fantasy doubles in Finland last year. That was kind of like a bring your own partner doubles event where one hole was worst shot, the rest was best shot, and one random local always got to partner up with me, which was kind of like the bonus. And yeah, just trying to beat Simon Lizotte basically. And how it's run now and what's the format, I am not sure.
you can find it. I mean, for those of you that are interested, you can go to discmania.net. There's details out there. I'm on the website and I'm seeing things slide through, and that's what made me think about it. Has there been, and you'll forgive me for not knowing, has there been a Simon Lizotte specific fundraiser disc for you this year, or just 2017 ones?
The Sky God?
Is that what it is this year? The 2018? Is it the Sky God? I'm curious.
What do you mean fundraiser? Have I ever had a fundraiser? I don't think so.
Well,
or like a tour
signature,
series, signature.
yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of signature discs as it's scrolling through here. There's the Sky God. There's the Crescent Falcon. And I'm sure there's more than that. I just didn't know if you had a specific one for 2018 or anything like that. Because I know every year we see the Innova team get kind of a new tour series, and I didn't know if Discmania worked similar to that or not.
Well, I think I'm kind of out of that now.
Okay.
I hope they will make tour series discs for the other team players, but I think Eagle and I kind of are out of that touring stuff because we're not touring.
Okay.
He's trying to say they get paid fat cash on salary and they don't need any of those stinking touring discs. If I'm reading between the lines.
I know what he's
saying.
saying.
And if he's smiling, which he is. Okay. So I saw the Sky God was, I paid a little more attention than Johnny in that realm, that I saw the Sky God immediately sold out, and then more were released, yesterday, and they probably sold out immediately there again?
I have not asked or checked the sales, but they have been insane.
Okay, so let's let you plug it a little bit. Go ahead and describe the disc. Do you even know what it is, or does it just keep selling with your name on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the new run of the C-Line P2s, which actually finally turned out to be the most overstable run we've ever made. So that's a really good bonus for that. And yeah, when we figured out the name is going to be Sky God, of course, like putting it on a putter doesn't really make the most sense ever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, at least, but yeah, I think we totally made it work. The putter is great for driving shots or up shots. It's not really a putting putter at all. But the way it turned out with the design, the background about the Egyptian gods, and it just all seemed like to work for me. At first, when I heard the name Sky God for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I've never heard a disc with a name like that, even close. So I was like, oh, this is going to be really interesting. But it was a lot more positive than I expected, the feedback.
Well, a shout out, even if it's a self-plug. Manny was ultimately the artist, right? Out of, well, he was on the East Coast, and I think Manny's out in Colorado now these days. Is that right? Did you have any input or feedback?
Well, yes, but not directly with him. It all went like over UC.
Oh, okay.
But
that again.
Is he watching?
Yes, he asked me to ask about the artist, and I know he's a super good guy that does lots of great work, so I thought I'd throw it out there.
Great job. Please, more of that.
Any other releases that people should be looking for or expecting from Discmania this year? Anything that excites you?
Yes.
Okay, you want to tell us about them?
No.
All right, we can expect more from Discmania. When should we be on the lookout for something you
No,
aren't
I'm not plugging that company anymore if you're going to stonewall me. That's enough. UC, write me a check, then we'll talk.
No, we're working on a new mold. Actually, two new molds are. The one new mold is definitely coming soon. I can't tell you what, but I've thrown it. It's like actually really good. I'm never excited about discs anymore because I'm old. I've been doing it for so long, but that disc actually kind of got me excited. And then when I was in Cali 2 days ago, one of the Discmania workers gave me the newest mold that I haven't even heard about. I didn't even know we were working on it. And that is going to reinvent my game.
That sounds like a tagline if I've ever heard one.
I didn't study that. It was absolutely freestyle.
Yeah. Is UC's ear? Do you have an earpiece with UC in it right now? Is that what's happening?
Yes,
Is that why you have to wear the hat?
Nobody can see it.
Tell them it'll reinvent their game. I don't have an accent, otherwise I'd use it. All right, so I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. Eagles out on the board.
Sidetrack?
Sky God track?
When did we ever have a track in general?
There is none here, but I'm going to move on to something else. Somebody had even asked me after our interview on what would have been Friday night, the third round, as we closed out at Fountain. I had kind of said, what's your goal here? Whatever I asked you, I don't remember. But you said something about you wanting to beat your pal Eagle. Some people came to me later and said, how serious is that? What does that mean? Are those guys friends? Are they teammates? Are they teammates and friends? Do they truly are trying to just get over on the other one to, try and beat the other one? Where does that relationship fall? Just to put it out in the open, to be clear for everyone, because I think some people are really confused by how you might feel.
Yeah, I think Eagle and I are also confused. No, it's
you spend that much time with another guy, and I can understand.
Is there anything ambiguous here?
The thing is that I used to be Eagle's idol.
Uh-huh.
That's where the problem starts.
Okay.
And I was his idol until he met me.
That's the saying, never meet your heroes.
And then somehow I'm not his idol anymore, which makes me mad. But we're stuck on the same team, so we kind of have to be friends. And then people think we're so similar because we throw far, which other people throw far too, and we're not similar. We couldn't be more different as a person. He's vegan. I'm the opposite of vegan. He is. I don't know. He's so. I guess I'm also socially awkward sometimes.
Depends how many you've
But,
had.
I don't know. We're both blonde now, which sucks.
That's where you're gonna take that, his hair color?
No, of course not. I was joking. No, we're friends. We're just as good friends as we are competitors. But yeah, it just happened to be that we're number one and he is number two on the team.
Does he know that? Would he agree?
I don't know. Look at the stats.
Wow.
All right, shots fired, I think the kids say.
Who's got more NT wins?
Oh, and T wins were tied. TM.
Really?
Yeah, because you've
Yeah.
won Glassblown, he's won Gentleman's Club
Yeah.
Challenge Las
Yeah,
Vegas
wasn't-
last weekend.
GBO wasn't the NT.
No, I was
won
thinking
it.
Ledgestone wasn't an NT. That's right. So
Ledgestone was.
Was it that year?
was it an NT? That year?
GBO wasn't.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking.
I was thinking the opposite. I had him flipped in my head that GBO was the NT and Ledgestone wasn't. Okay, so you have the same.
No,
All right.
GBO was 8th year when I won it. It was called Super Tour or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, nowadays it doesn't really matter if it's NT or Pro Tour or World Tour or Major. Like, winning a tournament is always insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about so much great competition. We're talking about a ton of media coverage. We're talking about pretty significant paychecks. You've been around for playing for a long time, longer than most have known about you playing. But do you feel that disc golf isn't growing as quickly as maybe you would hope that it would by now?
Oh, this disc golf growing question is so hard for me. I don't know. Is it growing? You tell me.
I mean, it definitely is. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we're seeing with the media and we're seeing exposure and we're seeing outside companies like I think of a Grip 6 or you trying to go after a Hugo Boss or a Ridiculousness, from MTV reaching out. I mean, that tells me that it's growing. But at the end of the day, you guys are winning $2,000 and $4,000 and $6,000 paychecks, which isn't bad if you think about it in the terms of, well, we're throwing frisbees around on a weekend, but it's still clearly not the money that you see in a lot of our other sports. So I think it's growing. I think it's growing at a solid, consistent pace, but a lot of people out there who maybe haven't been around as long are saying, well, it's not growing fast enough.
Well, I think the base.
So that's why I ask you.
Like if you think of like a pyramid, I think our base is growing. Like more courses, more people watching and things. It's just not necessarily filtering up as quickly as I think some people thought it would.
I don't know. I'm all in all very pleased to see all the improvements, especially when it comes to the media side. Like if I just think back 3 or 4 years ago, having a video out of a tournament the next day was like it just wouldn't happen. Like I remember the days where I was at home and the disc golf guy was mainly the only channel to broadcast anything. And that would happen usually like a week or two after the event, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, depending on the style or the event. Yep.
Yeah, no. And that's the kind of videos I miss with like these pre-tournament interviews of players and post interviews, like more production like that. But what Jomez is doing, what Central Coast is doing, what you guys are doing is such a huge improvement. And I don't think a lot of people actually realize that because it just feels so normal now.
I'm actually with you. I would love to see more of, I hate to go back to like the old blog style like you did, more of a an interview kind of like this, but just sitting with someone right after an event, whether it's, an hour after, and be like, hey, you just won. Let's talk a little bit. We do this now, which kind of makes up a little bit for that, because you're right. Jomez and CCDG and SmashBoxx and Disc Golf Guy and whomever else is out there, the next day stuff is, it's starting to hit that ceiling where we're not going to see the dramatic improvements that we've seen over the past 3 to 4 years. We're going to start to plateau, and I think we're going to need to find something else to satiate a lot of the disc golf needs.
Yeah, to supplement things. Well, I don't know if you remember this conversation, Simon. You may have had a few beverages, but we were at Green Mountain, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And actually, there's some pretty funny video that's never seen the light of day. It's maybe better that it hasn't.
I remember with Steve Brinster.
Yeah, there was Steve Brinster. There were a few people there, and I was trying to find a somewhat quiet area in the bar, which wasn't going to happen. And you and I had a good chat, and we were talking about all sorts of things. And I forever will remember the conversation you had. You were incredibly gracious, and it was along the line similar of what you just said. And I've always remembered that, and I really appreciate it. You had been really encouraging, saying that, you know, when you were overseas, you watched a lot of the content that I had been putting out, and you were thankful for that. And that, I'll admit, that certainly gave me more drive to continue what I was doing, to continue to improve it. And one of the things that stuck with me is you said, you don't understand how much the international viewers really appreciate what you're doing. And I hadn't thought about that. I think about, you know, at the time we were thinking about a few thousand views here and there. And I take for granted that I get to see and hang out and interact with you guys almost every weekend. And to know that there's millions of people around the world that are disc golf fans that never get to see Paul Macbeth or Ricky Wysocki or yourself even, or whomever. And that was something that was a real driving force for me, is knowing that I'm helping bring content to people all around the world that just wanted to consume what's going on with our crazy disc golf scene. So I very much appreciate that. Someday I'll dig that footage out, though, too, because I think there was a funny interview that wasn't related to just that.
That'd be a great thing to pull out right after he wins Worlds.
Oh, yes, definitely. A little throwback to some stuff that shouldn't be on film.
No, I love that I said something that stuck with you and that made you, what's the word? Like keep doing what you're doing, or be like more.
It was encouraging.
I can't think of the word.
Well, you were complimentary, but it was also as an end result, it was really encouraging to me, and it gave me a little bit of that fulfillment of, you know, maybe I don't see it right in front of me at this very exact moment, but you let me know that it was bigger and beyond just the few people or the few viewers I may be satisfying here and now, and that there were, you know, people at an international level that, as your words were, you know, that people really appreciated it overseas, and to me that made me blush, probably. Or we were both red in the face from too many drinks.
Yeah, I'm the same thing. Like after a tournament broadcast, and then people from Estonia messaged me like, "Oh, we were up all night watching till the very end. Thank you, congratulations," stuff like that. Just, you don't realize that what kind of people are watching and like what they're doing, and just the support is crazy. Like if you can make one person's day by saying something or doing something, then that kind of makes everything worth it.
It certainly does. Now, going back to Friday's conversation, or should I say interview at the very end, well, maybe more so even on Saturday, were you flustered or excited or nervous or just out of sorts a little bit when you talked to me? We kind of closed out the show and did that final interview. That didn't seem like your normal self when you were you just caught up still in the moment, or do you feel like there was nothing abnormal whatsoever during that final interview we did right in front of the scoreboard? You remember that?
You mean Saturday?
Saturdays, yes. Yes, I was thinking of Friday, and then, Saturday. It was Saturday after you won. We did that interview, and it didn't feel like I love talking to you. We have a great, I feel like we have a great rapport, and you're always so great on camera. I didn't feel like that was your best interview you've ever given me, and I didn't know if there was something I didn't know, or maybe you had other stuff on your mind.
I have to rewatch it, maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Well, it's not like it was bad. It wasn't as good as you normally do, and I usually start with one question. I have no idea where they're going to go after that. And your answers weren't long enough for me to even really think about my next question. So I don't feel like I did that great of a job myself because your answers were a little shorter than I expected.
I don't know. I think that's going to be my new thing. I want to make the interviewer look really confused.
Thanks.
I think that's a great idea, and just just random answers, short.
Because I just like say something people would never expect, and then just watch their reactions, kind of like comedians do. Just say something super offensive and like watch what happens. That's my style.
Well,
I like it.
Yeah, that's no.
One of the answers you gave, I said something or other about beating these other people, and you're like, I don't know, they sucked more than I did or something like that. And again, I can appreciate that humor, but I wasn't expecting such a quick, short response to it, and then I was already kind of digging for the next one. But it was still a lot of fun.
I don't think that you sucked personally at this event. You shot some phenomenal rounds, Simon. What I'm looking at the player ratings at 1053, 1064, 1088, and then you slowed down with a 1045. So
I averaged 1062 and a half, which I am not sure, but it's definitely in the top 3. Maybe the best I've ever averaged at a tournament. I don't know why. I guess, isn't the rating also based on what others shoot?
Kind of.
Yes.
I mean, we got to be careful because if we say Chuck Kennedy's name too quickly, he'll actually show up. But yeah,
Okay.
and there's kind of a history of the Memorial having an inflated player ratings for some reason. I think.
Yeah, I felt like in comparison to Vegas, the rating at the Memorial felt like way too high.
Yeah, I think that's kind of due to the course SSA, and I mean, what do you think about the Memorial courses in general? Do you like them? You just won on them.
I would never play them for fun, so I guess I don't really like them, but I love that event. I mean, I think it has tradition, I think it has style, and I think it belongs there for the next couple of years as well.
Okay.
Do you like one of the criticisms that's out there is that both at Fountain and at Vista, there's an opportunity for a lot of spectators or other people, maybe non-disc golfers, rollerblading or riding their bike or jogging or walking through the park or sightseeing out at the Fountain course, for instance. Do you feel that it could possibly be a good or a bad thing that there's so many other random people that aren't necessarily involved with the tournament?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're indifferent. I think what I'm saying is a lot of people are like, well, we really should be on a private course where we can control the crowds in the gallery and you're not going to have a random grandma out there, walking her grandkid. But if you flip that around, you could also say, well, that's one more person that might stop and watch the action. And I just didn't know how you felt about that.
I have no answer for that.
All right, you don't.
Here's something that you probably do have an answer for. The quick turnaround time between Vegas and Memorial. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Does it give you guys enough time, or is it just kind of something you're used to at the beginning of the season now?
I don't like it, but I also don't hate it. I think it should not be that way because I don't know. It's just weird that we have 2 days in between with a 5-hour drive and 2 new courses to play and practice after going off of 3 courses in Vegas. It just, I think it's too much, but at the same time, I also don't care.
I would love to see, personally, I'd love to see Vegas moved back one day. I think Vegas should end on Saturday and not Sunday.
Yeah.
And that gives everyone one more extra day, whether you want to spend it traveling or hanging out in Vegas, whatever you want to do. And I also kind of am in the feeling like Vegas, you can get there early in practice. Everybody knows the Memorial courses. You've played them. I mean, they haven't really truly changed too much in like 10 years. So,
yeah, I didn't practice Fountain actually this year.
Yeah. And so I kind of, to me, when I hear some people complain about it, most of them that people are complaining aren't the ones playing it. I kind of think, too bad. Suck it up for 2 weeks and then move on, and we'll get into your normal flow. But I didn't know how a true pro actually felt about
Yeah.
it.
No, I would never complain about it because I guess I don't care enough to complain. But yeah, I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's terrible either.
All right.
So if you never complain about that, what would you complain about?
Being hungry or tired.
Okay. That's a pretty short list.
Where have you found, what's a favorite place to eat in the city you're at right now? Now that you're on
Favorite place to eat.
you've got this new kind of
Headquarters.
where you're living, and you've just gone through this off-season training.
2 days. I don't know. I don't really have favorites. I don't have a favorite disc. I don't have a favorite course. I don't have a favorite country. I don't have a favorite place to eat.
Okay.
It's like my favorite is always the next I'll be at.
That's an awfully optimistic point of view. Eagle, at least whoever's logged in under Eagle's vlog, says he complains about everything. What do you say to
sounds like
that?
something Eagle would say.
What do you say to that? Do you feel like you do?
I just heard from the back of the room it's true.
So,
All right.
So,
two of the closest 3 people to you are saying that you complain about everything?
no, Avery also would say the same thing. I complain about, but I don't complain about actually important things. I complain about
Petty things.
like stuff that are irrelevant, like whatever. No, like it could be whatever, but I would say 80% of my complaints are usually my humor.
All right. Here's a good stupid question. You and Eagle, what's your preferred nickname for you two?
I call him McChicken.
Well, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm glad to know that. But
What does he call you?
He calls me Simmons.
Simmons, do you have? I've seen Smash Brothers, Crush Boys. Do you guys have a preferred duo nickname?
Like us as two people?
As a group,
Yeah.
Do you have a preferred one?
I like Crush Boys, kind of. I don't mind it at all.
It's
Okay.
cute.
Cute.
Cute, yeah.
It is adorable, actually.
It is, yeah. Are you going to make him address you as Sky God moving forward? Would that be a good one?
He should call me Sky God.
Yeah, is that what you're going to request?
Sky Jesus.
Okay.
Uh,
Not quite God. One step under. Well, I guess depends.
I was going to say, I'm not going to...
If it depends on the religion, which way you want to look at it, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. There's the whole Trinity.
And-
So but we're not a religious podcast. We're not getting into any of that.
No, we're not.
What's the dumbest controversy outside of disc golf that you see in the U.S.? I mean, I consider you a pretty well-rounded individual. I know you said you don't really complain about anything serious, but what would you say is the dumbest thing going on that you can observe here in the U.S.? It could be political, it could be with sports, it could be anything. What would you say is the thing that you roll your eyes at the hardest when you think of the U.S. and what we have going on?
Gun control.
Dare we ask? Where
Do you really want to split your fan base?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go there. Okay.
No.
Okay.
All right, good.
We'll move on from that. You can roll your eyes at gun control, and that's perfectly fine. Anything else you want to share with us, Simon?
Gun control.
I mean, if you want to get into it, you can.
I definitely do not want to get into that. Because at the same time, I don't really care.
Of course.
You're not a citizen yet, so.
Your cat's gone, or the cat is gone. Maybe not your cat yet.
Oh, it is gone. Finally. I
Do you
hate
like
cats.
the guy that doesn't care about anything hates cats? Of his lady friends.
It's a good thing you're stuck.
How many cats are at that house?
No, I think the words love and the words hate are very overly and wrongly used in the U.S.
Well, there's the mentality that I've always kind of gone by, like the opposite of hate isn't love, it's indifference. Like you can be
deep,
because if you love something, you hate something, you're passionate about it. Either on the other side, indifference, you just don't care. Like that's kind of how it wasn't meant to be deep by any means. I'm a very shallow person. But you're right. I agree with you. The term love and hate is kind of overused.
Yeah, or what's the other word? Amazing.
A little too much
That was
hyperbole there.
amazing. I'm amazed by my chicken wings. It's amazing. It's like blowing my mind how good this is.
I just figured he wanted to throw out the disclaimer of love and hate and those types of terms, just to keep things moving at a certain pace around the household. That's where I thought he was going. I thought that was just him laying some groundwork and some disclaimers.
He pretends he's talking to us, but really he knows she's overhearing. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. We're on to you.
Got it.
I almost hate to even ask then, but what are you most looking forward to here yet in 2018? Anything in particular, like whether it's a swing or in a set of events, or if it's a particular event? Is there a monument? Anything that really jumps out at you? No.
Wow. Tomorrow.
I feared that was coming. Any big things?
Deep.
What's that?
That is a very deep answer, by the way.
Any big things coming in the next few months? Anything in particular?
What I'm really looking forward to is Konopiste. I'm really looking forward to the European Championships in Croatia. And I am really looking forward to off time.
Off time? We just started the season, Simon.
Yeah, but I've played all these tournaments a couple times now, and I've been everywhere. I've done almost everything. And I'm looking forward to having a home base here and just being happy.
Is it a fair assessment to say that we have a slightly matured and settled down Simon? Could those descriptions be used?
Oh,
I'm 25, and 25 is the point where you can rent a car, so I'm free.
Valid.
And you had your license before your pal Eagle, or no?
I think Eagle got his license just barely last year.
Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. All right. Simon, we're going to leave it open and say, is there anything else you would like to voluntarily share with us here?
Or
announce or anything?
Will you be in Waco?
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to be at all the Pro Tour stops doing live, so we hope that we see you on the lead card a bunch, because you're always entertaining.
Yep.
I think I wasn't an option for a featured card in Waco.
Were you for? Yeah, I think he's doing a limited amount of times for featured cards.
Oh, you can't go back to back or something.
Something like that. Yeah. So because let's be fair, you would likely get voted in every single event, right? And that I'm not trying to blow up your ego here, but you would get voted in every single event. And I think
I wonder if I get voted because I'm European and all the Europeans vote for me, or if people actually like to watch me play. I don't know.
I bet you it's a little bit of both, because you have here in the States, we can kind of almost regionalize and say, oh, I want my guy from my region. You have Europe, for the most part. And on top of that, people really enjoy your demeanor. They enjoy watching you throw.
You take crazy routes and crazy shots.
It's amazing watching the board light up when you are on live, watching the chat go and talk about, just your shots and your style, and for better or worse sometimes. Hopefully much better this year.
Yeah. No, I've been enjoying everything, and I'm kind of glad I'm not on the featured card. That's so much stress.
Okay, well, then you're the perfect person to ask this. A lot of people say it's a huge competitive advantage because those players make the other players play better, and then everybody plays better. And I don't want to say every idiot out there, but everyone says that all the time. It's just huge advantage, and they shouldn't be allowed for that reason. Please provide your insight on that then.
Well, you can't really say that for everyone, because everyone has preferences on playing with other people, and no one's the same. So I believe I personally play best when I play with three guys I don't even know. That's when I play my best. And having the pressure of Ricky or Paul or whoever it is on your card, I mean, if that makes you play better, then I guess you're a genius. But it'll most people make you nervous for the first part and probably play worse.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm used to it. A lot of the pros are used to it, but I cannot see any advantage for me when I play with Paul or Rick. More the opposite.
Thank you very much. We need to cut this segment out and keep it forever because I get so sick and tired of everyone saying it's such an advantage that better players push each other and therefore then they all play better. And my immediate response to that is, what does Paul Macbeth do then? He's the highest rated player in the world. There's literally no one better than him statistically. Where does he get his motivation from? Because everybody else on the course or on his card isn't as good as him. I mean, if you need that to motivate you to get better, then
You've already lost.
You're doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
All right, give a couple shout outs to your sponsors before we let you go. Thanks, anybody you need to.
Listen to your earpiece.
Black ink discs. Oh, yeah, I can read it. Perfect.
Yep.
And grip equipment. Oh, that's another new thing that may or may not be coming soon. Maybe a new grip bag.
SmashBox exclusive.
This is not confirmed, but maybe.
We'll claim it's an exclusive announcement here.
Yeah, I've been really happy with grips. Super happy with black ink. The new lizard stamp is dropped. I will, what's the word? Damn, I forget the word. I will, boost it. I can't think of the word.
Promote.
Announce it.
Promote.
Post
I will
about it.
promote it.
Tweet.
As soon as Blair sends me the pictures. So if Blair's watching, send me those pictures to share, dude. And everyone knows, of course, Discmania has been stepping it up this off season, and Eagle and I are both continuing working with Andy and Irene from Switzerland. We have weekly meetings with them over Skype, and we have, of course, text almost every day, and they work for us more than we can work for ourselves. It's literally insane. So huge shout out to them. What they do for us is it's so new to the sport. I think people could take advantage of this kind of stuff, training, coaching with professionals that know what's good for your body, that if it's nutrition or working out or whatever it is, it really makes such a big difference. It's not easy at all. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this now and then I'll be a better person and player. It is so hard. It's so hard to stick to a diet. It's so hard to go out for a run. It's so hard to do 20 push-ups, but it's so worth it. And yeah, I'm so glad that Eagle and I have now shown and proven that hard work pays off.
All
but
right.
It's not easy, and if it was easy, then everyone would do it, and it wouldn't be special anymore.
That's exactly right. That dedication, that sticking to it, along with, all of those things you just said. I can't even really elaborate on that. All right. Any special shout outs for your lady friend? They're wondering if she's doing dishes for you.
She's cooking right now. Busy.
Something healthy. All right, Eagle. Eagle. Wow, I just called you Eagle. All right, Simon. Wow, I didn't do that almost all weekend, and then I go ahead and do it as we try to close things out. I'm pretty good at that.
You did it once all weekend, and
wow,
now you did it on our podcast.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because we're so similar.
Because you're so much alike. Yeah.
You know.
Damn, sick hair, dude.
I'm challenged. All right.
Yeah.
We do appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in Waco, you said?
I'll be in Waco with my partner and caddy and cook.
All right. Have a good night, Simon. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in a week. Smile more.
Smile more.
And smile more. You're beautiful. You're one of a kind. Smile more.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
every day when I drop my daughter off at school,
Mm-hmm.
we do an affirmation. And literally every day I have her say, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm going to have a great day, and I can do anything. And Simon reminds me of that. It's kind of funny.
If you're a little old school, that was almost a little bit of the Jack Handy.
Not Jack Handy.
Oh no, who was? What was his name from Saturday Night Live?
Come on.
Well, I know what his name was, but Stuart.
Yep.
Stuart
Smalley.
Smalley. Small.
Stuart Smalley, I believe. Yeah, it's Stuart Smalley.
Stuart.
Like that.
What do I know about names?
Yep.
Anyway, thank you to Simon, of course, for joining us, and
Always a fun interview.
he's super fun to talk to, and sometimes that's obviously a little bit cultural, and I know we touched on that a little bit. It's funny to see reactions and then just all around bluntness, and I think that's why so many people. Well, that's one of the many reasons people are attracted to both his humor and what he has to say, is because it's exactly that. He tells it as it is, and I think a lot of us in the U.S., I won't say that I get offended by what he's saying. It's just funny that when he just blurts things out like that and has, we'll say, less regard for how people are going to take it, it can make for some really interesting conversation, that's for sure. Stuart Smalley, is that the official answer on the board? What we do have is we also have an update from Dave Feldberg. I think we could segue over to. You want to segue over to that?
Yeah, we can do a segue over there.
Okay.
I was just gonna say we had almost. It felt funny, like we had a secret post-credit scene at the memorial because we closed out the show, we played the credits, and then I get something in my ear saying, "Oh no, we need one more thing, John." And I was like, "Oh, we're playing the credits. That's the end of the show." And we're like, "No, we're gonna do one more thing." So after the credits played, suddenly, poof. There was you and Dave.
Well, and we talk about the NextGen tour quite a bit, and of course, they're trying to do really big things. We have all these tours. NextGen worked with us at SmashBox last year, not only to release a bunch of news and information, but then when, to me, I knew they were really serious about what they were doing, is because they said, we want to broadcast the finale live. And then it went on to be one of the most exciting sets of golf, or rounds of golf and extra golf that I've ever been part of. So I thought that was really cool. Dave had a little bit of an announcement. I think he just has an update for us, and we can give that to you now. Here's Dave Feldberg.
Hi, this is Dave Feldberg with the Next Generation Tour, and I'm coming on SmashBox tonight to give you guys an update about the 2018 tour. Believe it or not, we're going to give away another brand new car at 2018. An even nicer car than last year. But I'd like to tell you what it is, but I can't. What I'm going to do is we're going to host a contest the whole month of March. Guess the car, win a Zuka cart. Simple as that. Go to the Next Generation Tour Facebook page, find the thread, put the make and model of the car, and the winner gets a Zuka cart. If there's multiple winners, what we'll do is a drawing for all the people who get it correctly, and everybody else will get a consolation prize. So, guess the car, win a Zuka cart. Simple as that. And I want to thank SmashBox for having us on again and again and supporting the NG Tour. And watch his memorial coverage. It was an exciting week. And I want to again thank everybody who supports us, including Latitude and the Next Generation team.
All right, Dave Feldberg talking a little bit about the contest. I know he mentioned it as we were closing out the memorial broadcast, and now he's elaborating a little bit on the contest, the fact that you can go out, if you can guess the make and the model, follow the directions that he said there, guess it, you have a chance to win a Zuka cart. If there's more than one person that has the correct answer, then it sounds like there'll be a drawing of sorts. So
1988 Dodge Shadow.
I like it. Red?
Yeah.
No bias there.
No. I could have gone with like a, what was that, 96 Park Avenue?
Oh, there you go.
Remember the park?
Everybody everybody needs one of those. I think that's the best way to throw off the whole world. Rather than going with a brand new, trendy or new or exciting car, we've got exactly. I think the Shadow would be a good way to go. 74 Pinto, something like that. A Tesla. No, you'd like that.
I would.
That would be pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to close things out. We've had plenty of information here tonight. We'll be able to give you some more action in the after show that may or may not be disc golf related, as always. We'll also have a giveaway that will take place for all of our Patreon supporters. And we'll talk about some other random odds and ends. I can't say I've got a whole lot even in the old think tank up top, but I'm sure we'll come up with some other things to talk about. But I would like to thank Dynamite Dana Vici for joining us, giving us what he saw, his perspective of the Memorial Championships that took place this last weekend. I'd like to thank Eagles Wings, who gave us their announcement for their junior grant winners. Of course, Dave Feldberg as well for clarifying and giving us a few updates for the NextGen and how you can go out and win yourself a Zuka cart. Zuka, of course, a huge supporter and sponsor of everything that's going on over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour and in disc golf and beyond. So it's great to see them, and we really appreciate that. And then last but not least, our favorite Sky God, Simon Lizotte, who gave us plenty of information and some insights, maybe even some hints or secrets or exclusives, all sorts of things coming from Simon.
Read between the lines.
And reading between some lines. I've got some more of that to do. I'm going to go back and rewatch it. Okay, I won't. But if I did, I think I'd find even more stuff. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, that's podcast 185. We'll see you guys in the after show in a few minutes when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SmashBoxxTV Podcast 185 After Show. I think we pretty much nailed that one.
It was close.
When's American Idol? Is that done? Is that starting back up?
I think it's starting back up on a new channel.
Really?
It's not on Fox anymore. I think it's on
What
ABC.
about America's Got Talent? I don't know. The Voice? I'm just saying.
So You Think You Can Dance, The Four. There's like 1,000 of those shows now.
I'm just wondering which one I would fit best into. I think I'm too old for American Idol. Well, besides the fact that I can't sing at all.
You and I should just do Amazing Race. That's the reality
show.
show.
Is that still a thing?
Still going on.
What about Big? Well, then there's Big Brother, which I can't. I've never watched a full episode of Big Brother.
I'll say I've never watched a full episode of any of those other than Amazing Race.
Huh. So Amazing Race.
The singing thing and dancing things don't interest me, but I have watched a few Amazing Races. And the only other reality show I really enjoy watching is Top Chef. So.
Okay, well, we are here for the after show. If you couldn't tell already, disc golf may or may not be the subject of choice. Johnny V and myself were here, and it's post-Memorial, which is, believe it or not, a really big hump. It's one of the few events this year that we'll be covering live that is, for starters, 4 days. It comes right after, which was talked about in the regular show, and a lot of people talk about it, comes right after we have the Las Vegas Challenge, trying to spit out the right name for it this year, the Las Vegas Challenge. And so very intense time frame. I believe we were looking at, 8 rounds of golf in like 10 days for these competitors when you take the 4 days of Vegas, and then they just have off, Monday and Tuesday, and by Wednesday, 4 more days at the Memorial. And the season's officially kicked off in a lot of ways. You know, some people open with the wintertime. We talked about that, of course. One of the conversations that has come up, and even he posted when he was on the board a little earlier during the regular show, we had Eagle McMahon posting, and he had clarified there, as I heard on site, he's not playing another tournament that we know of until GBO,
Correct.
which is at the end of April. And that's a full, like, 6 weeks from now.
Yes.
Somewhat surprising, I think.
I was just looking at the schedule for GBO because for some reason I thought it was mid-April, but it's the end of April. Yeah, you could say that's somewhat surprising. You could say it's maybe best for his mental health. We've seen Eagle in the past, not only a microcosm of his game where he gets to the end and then hopefully he's over this hump, then gave the tournament away or lost the tournament, depending on what you want to look at it. And we've seen him get through halfway through the season or 3/4 of the way through the season and just seem burnt out. So maybe what he needs is play a couple events, take a few weeks off, play a couple events, take a few weeks. Maybe that will keep him mentally there for the entire season. And if that's the case, I don't fault him at all for that.
And yeah, I'll be very clear. I am in no way second guessing as to what his strategy is. I find it interesting more so than anything. He's one of the youngest guns on the tour in terms of just sheer age. I know that's so insightful, but the fact that he's 19 or 20, he's one of the youngest guys out there. And I think we're more likely to see that approach or that revelation maybe by some of the guys. If a Paul Ulibarri said, okay, I need to get serious about taking more weekends off, or even a Ricky now who's traveled very, very intensely for the last few seasons, if he kind of took that demeanor or that approach. Eagle hasn't been on tour as hard as some of these other guys, and he's 19. And so I think
he's one of them soft millennials.
Actually,
I think he's even younger than a millennial.
Yeah.
He's not even a millennial.
So it's great to see him trying this approach, and I think being very smart about it from the get-go, not waiting until you're burned out or until you've suffered through this for many, many years and then trying to switch up your game plan. I'm all good with it. So I want to be very clear on that. I just think it's very interesting to see.
It is a different approach, and it might be something we see from more pros. I don't know. We'll see how it works for Eagle, and whether or not, because maybe, there's something to be said that if you're hot, keep going.
Yeah, sure.
Don't quit. If he takes 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks off and he comes back to the GBO and he's rusty, then that's on him. It's up to him to make sure he maintains whatever sort of momentum, whatever sort of habits he has going on. So I'll be curious to see how it works for him if he comes out to GBO and places, top 5, or if he comes and takes 16th through 25th. I just don't know.
And interestingly enough, and we'll talk more and more about the Memorial. We'll talk more about the GBO as it approaches. But GBO with a very different game plan from what we've seen over all of the last 4, 5, 6 years that I've been paying more close attention to it, and that it's just at the country club for the MPO division. And of course, other divisions are going to be at other courses, and even the FPO are going to be playing at other venues. But the MPO division, all 3 rounds at the country club, that's kind of a new experiment in itself as well. And I'm interested to see how that plays out with relation to just the overall GBO experience. So, as always, we like to interact with the board, the YouTube chat board. That's where we see most of the comments. We've been kind of scanning them throughout the night, as we always do when they're coming in. I see Wes Warren on the board, and I do have to thank Wes Warren. Wes was at the event, and as I was trying to get the FPO footage, the women's footage, as it was coming in or as it was actually going down and happening, Wes, more than one of the days out at Vista, was actually getting on his bike, going out to our cameraman Rick, grabbing it, the SD card, and then bringing it back to me as I was working in a back room at Duke's. And he went back and forth probably a dozen times when it was all said and done, and helped out on both Thursday and Saturday. So, Wes, we appreciate your support. Thank you for being out there, and thank you for lending a hand. I'm pretty sure you weren't reached out to ahead of time. So when we just kind of grab someone out of the crowd and then they end up becoming an involuntary volunteer or a forced volunteer, we certainly appreciate it. So I wanted to give you the quick shout out. I appreciate that, and we know you're always tuned in and partaking in what we've got going on. So thank you for all of the support. We certainly appreciate it. What are you looking up here, Johnny?
I was just pulling up the Patreon stuff and going to get the list set and prepared for that.
Okay. And along with Wes, I do want to say he wasn't around on the first day that we were at Vista, but the second day he was at Vista. Michael Spencer was also a huge help out there running cards. And I almost don't want to go through and start naming all names because I'll ultimately forget somebody, but just so many people at the memorial. Of course, Keith and Dan over at Spinners, along with Ashley and the whole crew at Spinners. Everyone at Duke's Sports Bar and Grill. I know it gets referenced quite often, but when you're able to sit on a patio and watch disc golf get played on hole 16 across to hole 17, holes 18, and hole 1, and there's a patio seating, and you're able to watch golf, live disc golf in that case, be played there, it's great to see. And they've been very supportive, and they allow us to set up and have the podcast area and a work area kind of way in the back of the room. So, and what's even cooler, and some people didn't realize this, anytime we're live for any event, whether it's the NextGen or whether it's the GBO or whether it's anything else at the Pro Tour, Duke's Sports Bar and Grill right there, we'll put it on multiple screens.
I did see that Pro Tour made that.
Yeah, inside there. And they've got, dozens or 100 TVs scattered throughout the entire place, but they will put live disc golf on a number of screens. And so huge shout out. I know Keith helps keep that relationship going, and they've been great over there. I worked with Megan, but thank you to everybody over at Duke's. We appreciate that. Jeremy Stewart, again, super chatting to Jeremy. I think that's your third super chat of the night. We really appreciate that, pal. Seth Fenley is out there for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Seth, of course, running around controlling all of the social media aspects on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We had a new cameraman, that someone who hasn't really worked with us too much on the live capacity. Matt Donchis was out there. Matt's not a diehard disc golfer. He plays, but he's not diehard disc golfer. He's a great video editor and cameraman, and we had a little bit of a shift in terms of who we normally have at the events. And Matt came over and he rejoined us. He worked with us a couple of years ago, but he rejoined us. And then Rick came in from Connecticut, who's usually with us. Also great to have those guys. And how are things back at the controls? I guess that's a question that we didn't talk about too much. How are things back here in Milwaukee? You and our pal Gary to the O?
Awful.
Yeah.
No. We had every year I think we learn a little something, and this year Steve Dodge is putting out the Circle Zero show with the help of Dixon Jowers.
Yes. Thank you to Dixon.
And so we need to get everything prepped a little bit earlier than we're used to. That includes our cameramen and this and that. So we ran into a couple hiccups. That last day there was some weird issues with some crashing on my side, but other than that, I honestly felt that this was a very solid 4 days of broadcasting. Not only good golf, but it was very solid on our side as well. So same old here, man.
Were any buttons pressed that shouldn't have been?
I'm sure there were.
Okay.
Probably from Gio.
Probably. We'll throw him under the bus.
We always do. It's good for him.
Joe PG out there says, I watched more live disc golf this week, and it was better than I have seen in the past. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, I did. I saw that comment a few times, so thank you. It makes us very happy.
Wes asks, when you run cameras, how many do you max out at on course? Our pretty consistent format has been that we have 2 live cameras going. We have a throw cam and a catch cam. Last year, Steve Dodge kind of mixed in the idea of ultimately trying to have a roaming additional camera. Of course, that came with its own challenges and significant expenses, because then you usually needed not only the camera operator, but then you were using that much more data. But then on top of that, a roaming camera without any form of commentator on it became a challenge in itself as well. So, but typically we have 2 cameras for live, and then in post-production, there's a lot of different ways to go about that for when I'm doing stuff. Sometimes usually it's 1 camera, sometimes that's 2, and like, a Joe Mez or a Central Coast, you sometimes see 3 out there. So it all depends.
And we have the capability of doing up to 3 before we need to. There's a few things on our side we need to step up and invest more heavily in. But
reading a few more comments on the board. Max says it was great. Thanks for everything. You're absolutely welcome. Your thoughts, Daniel asks, your thoughts on pros using a disc cart in a tournament. It's becoming completely
standard,
second nature, normal, commonplace.
You're out there as much as anybody. What is the percentage of carts to, we'll say on the MPO side, the average carts to bags, would you say?
In MPO specifically.
We'll say MPO specifically, and I know you don't get to see every card, but we'll just say like the top 10, 15, 20 cards. What do you see out there?
Just off the top of my head, I would have to say maybe 10-ish% of players using carts right now.
That's it?
In MPO.
I thought it would be a little higher. I was thinking
it might,
20 to 25, but maybe not that much.
Somewhere between 10 and 20 would be my guess. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're quite to 25. I mean, that should be the next stat on udisclive.com. But if I went down UDisc Live and then thought about every individual, maybe this is a good or a bad test, but right off the top of my head, who do you think of in MPO that's using a cart?
I mean, you think about Ricky. Dustin Keegan. I believe he's a Zucca cart carrier.
I guess I've seen him use one. I don't know if he did this weekend, for instance. I also didn't see him play at all. But okay, Dustin Keegan, sure.
Yeah, I guess it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at our actual list of competitors, but they're just in MPO specifically. Now, I've seen Paige use a cart in FPO. We see Sarah Holcomb frequently use a cart.
Almost all the time.
But as I'm looking right down the list right now, anyone that finished in the top, I don't think I've seen Bobby Music use. Zach Melton may or may not have occasionally.
I think he does on occasion.
I've never seen Drew or Nico, Coling, McBride.
Yeah, so
Oakley, Nybo. No,
maybe it's not 20%. You're right. It's probably closer to 10 to 8 to 10% of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I continue to look down this list, and very, very few. I've seen Kale use various carts at times, but I don't know if he does that as much when he's traveling long distances. I'm guessing he still does. He packs it along. Yeah.
So I know Dana kind of breezed through it. Some of the things that I was a little surprised about that I saw this week was Madison continuing to do well.
Yep.
I didn't realize, and maybe she's not, but her wrist seems to be healing up pretty well. I mean, you might have a little more inside knowledge on that. I don't know. But
I've chit-chatted with her a little bit, but of all conversations, the wrist hasn't been part of it.
That's
so
great.
To me, that's a good sign.
And then Kona. I mean,
yep.
Kona was on pace to take top 5 again, and then she ran into a giant speed bump at the end of her last round. Her last 7 holes or 8 holes, I think she went like 7 over par. 6 or 7 over par. But she was on pace to, take top 5 almost until she did that, and then she ended up in 10th. So it's something has clicked with Kona Panis, and it is exciting to see that we have. I mean, we have Paige by herself, but now we see a second tier of women that are all fighting for position, and I still think Sarah Holcomb and Kat probably have an advantage over most of those women. Then you've probably got like a Jessica Weiss and Lisa Fakis. But honestly, it's not going to surprise anyone to see Jessica, Lisa, Kat, Sarah, any of them take second, third, fourth this year. It's going to be a surprise when Paige doesn't take first. Is what we're going to see.
Well, and it was, it was famously or infamously said last year about this time when Paige had made the quote that, she doesn't think that she was going to get beat, in 2017 after she had won the Memorial by more than a dozen or so strokes. And one has to ask that same question, and I know we talked about it in the regular show quite extensively, is if Paige doesn't win an event, is it going to be because she got beat, or is it because she didn't perform up to her skill level? And we could all argue, if that's the same thing or not.
Same thing, because if Paige performs at her skill level, she is unstoppable. I mean, the statistics show it, that she's the highest rated player if she plays there. Now, you could make the argument like, what if she averaged 980 golf, but Kat averaged 990 golf that week? Sure. That could happen very well. I'll say that if we see Paige lose, you'll be able to point out why. It'll be mistakes on her part.
Okay. Further down the list, reading on, so we answered the pros. Terry, will you sign my disc if I see you in Waco? Absolutely, Alexis. I would love to, not a problem. Coverage was great. It gets better every year and every event. Thank you.
Shout out to all the patrons. We've picked up a few of them, like 6 or 7 patrons in the past 2 weeks. So thanks a lot to everyone out there that is supporting Smashbox and this method. And I don't know if it is because of the podcast or the broadcasts or Fantasy Disc Golf. I know I have a little link on there as well. But for whatever reason it is, thank you. It's very much appreciated.
It absolutely is. Chris Beyer says, are you doing USDGC? And I really want to travel to see and play the course on Sunday. Is that possible? The last few years, they've set up, basically you can sign up in foursomes and then play the USDGC layout on Sunday, the day after the event. I think last year with a hurricane, or the year before, I should say, that wasn't feasible. However, that's what they've typically done for the last few years, so that fans, players of all skill levels can go out and actually see what it's like to play that layout in that exact format. I just had that conversation with someone this last week. They were talking about courses to go play, and they said, I really want to go play the USDGC. And I said, if you went out there tomorrow, it will look absolutely nothing like you've ever seen it on video. Obviously without the ropes there, the baskets are in different locations. Lots of things, almost everything about that course is completely different. So that wouldn't do you much good. Similar to how the Vista layout is really specific to the Memorial, and how the Fountain Hills layout is very specific to how it gets played for the Memorial. Some of those things are specific to the events.
Very tournament unique.
So do you use Sprint or Verizon? We use Verizon, Wes. Nate Doss was excellent. Yes, very much so.
Are you in fear of losing your job?
If he wants to take it, or someone else wants to do a bunch of work, and I do less work, sign me up.
Because I know
I'd love it.
I've joked about it, but if he could be at every event, and I could make sure he's not playing somehow,
yeah,
we would take him. He was great, hands down. Everybody says so. He's a professional, and he's a natural behind the mic. So I hope we get to see more of him this year. I truly do.
There were a lot more carts in Vegas and Arizona as Disc Golf Strong. That's Seth Muncie out there says. Seth, if you don't mind, maybe chime in on the board a little bit. Let us know. Do you feel like carts are a significant advantage health-wise? The less wear and tear, the picking up. Probably people rely quite a bit more on one arm in order of picking up and or just carrying bags either on one shoulder or evenly on your back. Bags have come a long way in the last 5 or 10 years. But I'd be curious, do you feel like there may be a transition to carts? And if so, do you feel like that will be health-related or health-driven? I'd be curious to know what you think of that. And Seth from Disc Golf Strong, for those that don't know, he was at this event, but is planning on being at a ton of other events. Not only he has merchandise out there, but have a conversation with him. You can learn so much about what's going on with your body. And we heard Eagle and Simon, both rave in the last few weeks about what
personal trainers.
Exactly, and that is exactly where Seth is at as well. And Seth's been about it for quite some time now.
Is he paying you for a commercial that I don't know about? Are you keeping that?
I should be. Right, Seth? No, but Seth did give me a book, and I'm excited to read it. I'll report back on that on another day. I'll do a book report. How's that?
I expect.
Matt Pipke says 10% carts, I bet. Max says, I really want to see a pro with a baby stroller. I really don't. Call me petty, but just from an image standpoint, I think that doesn't do anything positive, but that's just me. I can be petty like that. Thanks for the live coverage, guys. Nate Doss was a pleasant surprise. He certainly was. The DD crew uses them, but going back to carts, yeah, there's a number of DD players that use them. A lot of them use a regular bag and then put that inside one of the, we'll say, lightweight carts or one of the really the frame carts. I think that's great as well. It's not a ton of people, but I do see some. Paige, namely, is one that does. Ronald Harkey says Barry Schultz. I don't know if
Barry Schultz has had a cart.
Has famously used the go-kart for many, many, many years.
A long time.
I'm not sure if Zach does or not. He was on my list of maybes. Elaine as well.
Yep, Elaine King.
Correct. Sorry, we're just reading down the list as we typically do here during the after show, trying to get some additional interaction from you guys. Learn and grow. Are you in communication with CatchCam? Can he feed you info about where a disc lands if you can't tell from the tee box?
We do that.
Short answer is yes, but it's not quite as easy as you would think. And here's why. We're on a constant phone call throughout the round. It's a conference call, and the CatchCam typically, because there doesn't have to be a lot of communication coming from them, the CatchCam on certain blind holes where we think of it and realize it ahead of time will unmute their phone. And then what that means is I can hear what's going on from that person. Sometimes I'll have Johnny or Gary here at controls. They may or may not be talking, but what then happens ideally, and I also have to notify, in this case, a co-commentator, hey, Nate, I hopefully will be getting information coming into my ear, so I may take the lead on calling this shot. That's about the only time we actually discuss who's going to talk and who's not. But in this case, I may say to Nate, Nate, I'm going to hear this coming in. The challenge is the catch cameraman to always be giving me an update as it's happening, because sometimes it comes across as awkward timing. So what has happened, unfortunately, in the past, which we're always trying to improve on, is a shot is thrown. Everybody standing at the tee doesn't know what happened. And then it finally comes to rest, and it's inbounds or out of bounds. Meanwhile, no one on the tee has any idea, myself included. And then at the last second, when the next person's like already basically ready to throw, the catch cameraman may say, oh yeah, that went OB, or it didn't, or they may not update me necessarily. So we just have to get better at having that communication taking place. And then what is sometimes a little awkward is the catch cameraman, whoever it might be, may say, it's coming in, it's skipping, it's, and then I start saying stuff, and I'm waiting to hear what they're going to say. And then they say, it stopped. It's 10 feet from the pin. So I may relay that. Oh, looks like it's about 10 feet. And then you walk up there, and maybe it's 20. And then, or it's definitely more than 10. It's 15. And that's where someone's like, are you blind? Can't you see what's going on? Why would you say that? So those are some of our communication challenges that take place. We're going to try and improve on that so that it becomes very natural that anytime it's truly a blind shot that we can't see. Or there was a few times where Nate would say, oh yeah, that's parked, or I may be a little bit more generic, and one of us would say one thing and the other would completely contradict it because we heard something that came in. I never said it to Nate, but whenever I talk to co-commentators that do happen to join us, I always say, if you're not sure, either don't say anything or just or
be more generic.
Be a little bit more generic, because we all know somebody can throw an approach shot to 9 feet, or I'm sorry, we'll say 22 feet, and from where our vantage point, it truly looks like it's parked, and somebody goes, oh, he parked that. No, it's not. No, it's not. And everybody gets all worked up because they saw it. So we'll try and get better at that. Someone, I didn't even tell you this yet, someone
Ooh.
graciously reached out and said, I have some communication devices that could greatly help you guys out for your camera crew. I think Jomez uses something along those lines and Central Coast does. And as I'll follow up more, but I'm not sure that's going to really help us because we need to be in communication with the guys back here in Milwaukee, and that's why we're always on a phone call. When Jomez has those earpieces in, and I think all three of them are wearing them, they're just communicating, obviously, within themselves, and that's all they need to worry about. And they're all within almost, a few hundred feet or 100 yards of one another, so they work out great. But when we need to be in communication with you guys back in Milwaukee, and if they're truly a walkie-talkie set, I don't know that they're going to prove to be advantageous. So
no, they do make. I've looked at it. It's very, very expensive. We're
rich.
Is it Clearcom? I forget the manufacturer that makes it, but it's a professional system that professional camera crews and stuff use to communicate with studios and things like that, and it's very expensive. I've looked at it, but if we can get a great discount or something like that, that would be awesome. And we're never afraid to look into other options. So do you have an idea of what we're giving away today for Patreon?
Some stuff. Some cool stuff. I can't promise what it is.
Okay.
But I'll get you something.
It'll be something.
If you're waiting on something, I'm pretty well caught up, but I feel like there's one or two that may have slipped through some cracks with some crazy traveling. If you're waiting on something, please certainly reach out. You're not going to be offending me. I tell a lot of people, if you don't hear from me, just follow up. I'll get you your stuff. That I promise. But if you are waiting on anything, let me know. Give me that gentle reminder because I probably have a Post-it or a virtual Post-it or something somewhere. I'm not on top of everything. I'll admit it.
All right, well, let's do our Patreon giveaway. We can... What number do you want, Ter? Actually, first number I see on the board between 1 and 10. I will
First number, any number.
I will hit the random button that many times, and that will be the giveaway to the number for the person that's going to get our Patreon stuff.
Cody
6
says, watch your own live stream so you can see the catch cam footage.
That would be like a 30-second delay.
Yeah, that would be 30 seconds.
All right,
Ronald Harkey says
6.
with
6 is the first one. So I'm going to hit that random button 6 times. We have 174 patrons, so thank you, as you can about see right now. If you
click over, let you know. We're going to go to random.com.
Random.org.
That's what I meant.
Random.org.
Other people are random.
174. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here it is. 6, number 95. 95 is, if I scroll.
Oh, but did you sort them?
Alex Muniz. Congratulations, Alex. You are number 195.
Is that Alex?
I'm sorry, Alexis. Alexis Muniz. My bad. Alexis Muniz.
Who had Alexis had said number 3. So you're lucky that somebody else said 6 because that ultimately became you.
Way to go, Alexis.
How random that our winner is actually on the board, which doesn't usually happen. So awesome. Congratulations.
All right, Terry will pick something out of his special stash.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll be getting
Special
that.
stuff.
You can expect an email from me in probably the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, Wes. He said between 1 and 10. So somebody said number 6, and Johnny generated 6 times, and that's how we then landed on Alexis. Awesome. Well, whatever it is, how about I just bring it to you? Maybe next week at Waco. If you're going to be at Waco. I think that's what you just asked me a few minutes ago. Yeah, I'll be sending out, no, not just a 2001 CE Rock, 2 of them. Never mind. Jeremy Stewart asked a very, very great question, which is, when will I do a basket giveaway? For those that don't know, if you are supporting me via Patreon personally over at the Disc Golf Guys Patreon channel where I do post-production coverage, that basket drawing will be tomorrow. So last month, Nick Williams ended up winning an MVP basket. Tomorrow is my plan to draw for the Disc Golf Guy Patreon support, where I give away a basket every month. So All you got to do is be a Patreon supporter there, and you could win a basket, a portable basket. I'll be doing that drawing live tomorrow. So, good question. All right, Joe PG says, getting late. Good night, all. Thank you so much. Dad's drunk is giving us his name, and yeah, I think we got all good to go. I don't really have too much more for you. I don't know what else you've got for us here in the after show.
I don't really have much, thankfully. It's been a hectic past couple days, and I'm happy that we've got a few days off before not this weekend, but next weekend's Waco event.
Correct. What I'd like to know is if you guys are out on the board, which many of you are, where are you guys playing this weekend? And I ask because it almost feels weird thinking, oh, well, we're not live. We know we're going to be live 10, 12, 13 times this year. There's a ton of post-production coverage going on. I think some of our pros are kind of scattering to different places. Many of them are arriving in Texas. I heard that the event that's going on this weekend is in Jomez's hometown. And someone had said that they're not playing and that that they're not filming because they're going to be playing this weekend. So I think that's awesome that they're going to be able to kick back and enjoy their hometown and relax a little bit. They've had a pretty crazy past couple weeks on the road, as has CCDG and all the other film crews. So pretty awesome to hear. I think I saw that AJ Risley and a number of others were getting into Texas. And I think some of them are going to be. I don't know if it's an A or a B tier or what it is, but that's what I heard is that those guys will be actually out there playing. So somebody can go out and film them.
I know they did a little on the day after CCDG and Jomez.
Yes, I believe there was
competition.
Yes,
and it's going to show up on Jomez's site. So
okay, I think okay, yeah, or both of them at some
point.
They
might be splitting it, but I know
it's on both.
I thought it was going to start out at Jomez's site. So I'll be curious to watch that. Yeah, I'm assuming you're not talking about the Texas Amateur Championships.
No.
Cedar Hill, Texas.
Nope, I don't think some of those guys are eligible for that.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, look forward to some of that. Ian reached out to me actually and asked me if I was going to be at GBO. I said yeah, because he wants to play a little bit with me and have a fun round. I would like to actually play one of those one-day events. I was already just looking at it today. I think the Tuesday event, or maybe it's Wednesday. Maybe it's the Wednesday Flex Start C tier. And I was looking at the different divisions, and I'm like, ooh, do I go Masters? Do I go Advanced Masters? I'm not sure. Right now I'm leaning towards Advanced Masters because it's just a bigger field. There's like 12 or 15 people, and in Masters there's like 3.
Are the Masters good?
I didn't even look. I just looked at the numbers, and frankly, I mean, I wouldn't want to win like a 4-person field. Right?
Yeah, who does that?
Right?
I'm not going to say that I have more A-tier wins than EMAC, but Masters.
I'm just kidding. I don't even think I would win. I know I wouldn't.
No.
Even if it was 4 people.
There's some people certainly out on the board giving me a hard time about my lackluster picking on the fantasy site. And
did you even make a pick for Memorial?
It was.
I didn't even look.
What's funny is just how poorly the people I picked can truly perform. I mean, so here's the question. Am I a bad picker, or are these guys not good golfers? I mean, if we're going to place blame anywhere,
it's clearly
not me. It's not me. These guys need to get a clue. Step it up. Play better.
I guess.
Plenty of people picked Eagle and Simon, and plenty of people were rewarded accordingly. If you didn't, you certainly could have fallen back quite a bit. So my picks were less than impressive. Well, their play was. I'm not gonna.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Did anyone notice that I'm back where I belong in Skip Ace? Dad's drunk says, nope, could not have looked at all for your name, so no worries there. Am I talking to Paul? Just saying. Terry, sounds like you're giving the players as much bad luck as the Madden cover. I think the point system changes things somewhat.
I'm looking at the $20 league that you signed up for. You picked Kale, which not a horrible pick. You did okay. You picked Philo.
Come on, man.
Not so good. But
Come on, man.
You picked Ricky and Paul, who both performed admirably. You picked Kona. She did okay. I mean, like I said, she was right up there until the last 6 holes.
Yep.
And you picked Lisa Fakis, which is a very solid pick. She tied for second.
Yeah. So I wouldn't consider my picks bad.
Nope, not at all.
Well,
Philo had a rough one. Terry Moreland had the best in this particular league, where he picked Simon Eagle, Nico, and Double G, which is a good. That's a good low rating bet there. And then he was able to do that, pick Paige and Lisa, because Double G is a sub 1,000 rated player, so not a lot of people go down that far to pick. So he found a way to take it. He took 1,157 points.
Very nice. I'm just honored by Cody Jenkins, who says, Terry, if you were a booger, I'd pick you first.
Aw.
I'll take it. I think that's a compliment. That goes along with someone, I think it was Jeremy, who earlier said that his wife liked my hair here tonight. So I'll take a compliment where I can get it. Not a problem. All right. I think we can call it. This it seems like we've covered all of the major topics that we need to worry about. Of course, next week we'll be able to give a little bit more of a preview as what we're going to see for the Waco event. Excited to go back there. I believe the course is termed Brazos East Park, so frequently referred to as the Beast. Last year we saw this great battle take place, and ultimately James Conrad, along with Jeremy Colling, went into the extra playoff, or not extra playoff hole. They went into a playoff, which was one extra hole. Colling came out on top, and it'll be interesting to see how things play out next week for us. So, all right, guys, I want to thank Wes Warren again out on the board. We appreciate it. Also, a little earlier in my list of thanks, Dan Harbeck, who's always been a great supporter, a Smashy, a disc golf guy, Patreon supporter, an all-around super nice guy, even though he's from Illinois, and he's supposed to hate us here in Wisconsin. He doesn't. He supports us, and we very much appreciate that. And the quick plug that no one will recognize at the very end here, Skyline Classic, one of the few remaining events that I'm going to host each and every year. Registration, by the time you're listening to this podcast, registration will be up and available. Excited to bring in one of Wisconsin's newest high-level course in playing the Silver Fox. That's going to be involved in the event this year. People have been clamoring for it. I wanted it to get kind of worn in for a year or two and get the cement tee pads. Well, this year at the Skyline Classic, the B tier, the weekend after Jonesboro. So if you're in southeastern Wisconsin area or you want to come here, you'll be treated to 2 really nice courses for my B tier. So thank you guys so much. We're going to call it a night. We appreciate it. Patreon supporters and then some for both the Disc Golf Guy as well as for Smashbox and our broadcast efforts and everyone over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour, along with the Memorial Championships crew and staff. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you guys next week for your Waco preview. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.